Good job, guys. Sorry.
That's not getting a drink all day.
Hardly.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good night. I am Ben, and this is the podcast that drinks and knows things. Tonight's episode is No, Now It Ends. Recording date of December 15th, 2018. Talking Season 6, Episode 3, Oathbreaker. Make sure you listen to the Drinks and Knows podcast on Radio Public. It's free and easy to use and helps our listeners like you find and support shows like ours. When you listen to our show on Radio Public, Android, or iOS app, everyone benefits. So as I said, I'm Ben. Tonight I am drinking O'Fallon Brewery, the Rizzuto Show, Taking Care of Business beer. It is kind of a St. Louis exclusive, but if you can get a hold of it, it's actually fairly damn tasty. So I give that a shout out. Glenn of House Dog is in the house.
Hello.
What are you drinking?
We are
tonight?
drinking a nice warm lager. We got a Zwickel Urban Chestnut Brewing Company Bavarian style lager.
Nice.
Bam.
I actually had that
Yummy.
one the other night at the Winter Walk down at House Park. And also joining us is Lucan of House Black Mage.
Cheers, y'all. Welcome back. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight.
So, as you can see, we do not have our first-time watcher with us. Hopefully, if she can jump in a little bit later on, she will be here. If not, that's okay. And going on, so this show is, and all of our shows at thepodcastthat.com are produced with the love and support of our wonderful Imaginary Legion patrons. Learn more about our rewards tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. So, we're going to jump right into our previous episode recap. Glendog, that's yours.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so previous episode recap. The Branny Bunch is back in the fold. Ed and the wildlings become a thorn in Alistair's side. The mountain smashes a dick. Marcel is laid to rest. The dragons were unchained, and Tyrion's balls grew 3 sizes that day. Arya learns that beggars can't be choosers. I'm not sure how that analogy fits, but we're just going to go with it. Ramsay becomes top dog. Kings be a mootin'. John be Jesus.
Be a Jesus. Be a Jesus.
Big butter Jesus. All right, episode number, this, like I said, is season 6, episode 3. The duration was 52 minutes. It first aired on May 8th, 2016. It was directed by Daniel Sackheim and written by D.B. Weiss and David Benioff.
First episode by Daniel Sackheim. I believe.
Yes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, Luke, you got the episode description.
Oh, boy, do I. Daenerys meets her future. Bran meets the past. Tommen confronts the High Sparrow. Arya trains to be no one. Varys finds an answer. Ramsay gets a gift. I think that's like the most items in a single summary we've ever had. There's like 6
Right.
characters.
Yeah. Typically, they keep it to about 3 to 4 at most. So, yeah. All right. So, we're going to jump right into our Quill and Tankard pub trivia. Boys, get your blocks ready. Who was the lead Dash Colleen wife to? Thumbs up when you're ready.
I think so.
All right.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink, and I know things.
On 3, 2, 1, enter. So Glennie put Mero and Luke put Cal Savo. Luke is correct.
Dang, I knew it was something like that. Something with the,
Maro is the one that catches Danny. So, but yeah, she was married to Cal Savo. So
Salvo. Salvation.
So, all right, we're just going to kind of jump right into the episode. At the opening title, same as last week, Peter Dinklage had the main name. We went King's Landing, Pike, Winterfell, Wall, Bravos, and Marine. Nothing new. So, Moving on. First scene is at the wall. We got John, Davos, Melisandre, Tormund, Ed, and Ghost. John comes to grips with getting a second chance. Nobody's really sure how to feel. Glenn, go ahead.
Yeah, so John kind of, because they're kind of asking him like, what'd you see out there, and when you got killed or whatever, like what, and he just kind of just remembers being stabbed and kind of remembers everything before he died, I guess. But something that's interesting is when like Beric came back, he said he didn't really remember a whole lot from beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of interesting that John kind of remembered everything leading up to his before he perished.
So I think with Beric, it was as he continually was resurrected over and over again. The past started slipping more and more.
Right. So like the first one's like a free pass. Like, all right, this is
all right.
This is about
an extra
all
life.
right, you keep doing this. We're gonna take shit away. Fuck you.
you keep doing it. You're gonna start losing your magical items.
Stop dying.
You're gonna lose your sword, your ocarina, your flying boots. I mean,
it's more of a progressive. The first time you get killed, you lose like 5% of your income. Next time you lose like 7%, then 10%. And if it keeps happening within a short period of time, you're down to like 30% in half an hour.
They're gonna take your cheese grooves.
Or to stick with the Zelda reference, it's like if you had all 20 hearts in your meter, and every time you died you lost one, but you can't get it back. So after a while, you have to beat the final Ganon battle with a single heart. That's just gonna be tough.
Yeah, true.
Come on, John,
All right,
get your shit
what's
together. I think he's gonna have a different response to this in the book. This isn't really a spoiler at all because this scene hasn't happened in the books, and I think when he comes back, it's going to be done differently. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be as quick and simple as this. But the main thing that I think is going to be different is I don't think he's going to say there was nothing. I feel like he spends all of this time in Ghost and is basically warged the whole time. And so there's a lot of avenues you can go down with that, but I don't think he's going to say, oh, there was nothing. I was stabbed and then I woke up here naked. I feel like he's gonna have a little bit more wherewithal.
So he's gonna be like, I was being wolf. I was being a wolf.
I was laying on the ground and sniffing my own butt,
licking my balls.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with you because this is the show writer's way of negating his wargdom and all that, basically leaving it only to Bran, as we've talked about. So it makes sense for the show to say, yeah, there's nothing. But I think you're absolutely right. Book-wise, there's going to be something more. I do want to say the look on Davos's face when he saw nothing, it was like it was like half confirmation and half just fear, because he's like, well, crap, I believe in the seven and still nothing, so it's like, okay, but he's like, I guess I was right about that. Just a slight worry. Now going on to like the next part of it, when he comes out of
one quick thing on what you were just
ahead.
saying there. I don't really think Davos believes in the seven. He's followed the seven. I don't think he really believes in it because just last episode he was basically saying there's gods all over the fucking place. I mean, he was just saying like he doesn't believe in any of them.
True. No, and I more take it as he kind of had hoped he was wrong.
Okay,
like kind of one of those like just that I'm reading his looks and everything. It's hard to judge or be sure, but it's one of those. He kind of had this look like, oh shit, I was hoping, but okay, let's move forward.
Sometimes he plays the cards in his hand.
Exactly. So John comes out of the room to the rest of the Night's Watchmen. Tormund comes up to him and he's like, they think you're a god. I'm not a god. Oh, I know you're not a god. I saw your pecker. No god has a pecker that small. That's what you need to defuse the situation. Make a dick joke, you bring it back to normal. Any thoughts on the second half of that scene, guys?
Us talking about the small dick or
the Tormund and scene.
Yeah, it was a good like kind of a lighthearted way of, I guess, because it looked like everyone was kind of like, what the fuck's going on, and then you got Tormund over here, like he doesn't really give a shit how it happened. He's like, whatever.
He's like, I'm just glad you're back because that's kind of our ticket here.
And I saw your dick.
And that was just good for everyone, I guess. Or not kind of unimpressive is what it sounded like.
It was hard to see from what it.
From what we can gather.
Yeah.
I really liked the reunion here with Tormund and with Ed. I mean, it's just sweet. It was fun and lighthearted on both of them, which makes sense because John's such a brooding character, but his friends around him are very light, and he interacts with them well because of that. And I'm glad that they kind of got to that nature of their friendships pretty quickly.
Right. He's not a dick.
Yeah. And then Ed's like, that was funny. Wait, are you sure that's still you?
Right. Hey, that was actually funny. Let you hold off on burning my body.
Your eyes aren't blue.
One final thought on the Davos portion of it. I liked how he kind of realized, okay, like it's crazy as fuck, like what I just saw. Like, let me put myself in John's proverbial shoes right now. Like, this must be really fucking bonkers for you. Like, just trying to, go crazy here. Like,
right.
It's weird. I'm with you. And then he gives him some pretty solid advice. Like, because John's pretty distraught. I did what I thought was right, and I failed. And Davos throws it right back at him. He says, go fail again. And I just think that's really good advice for him to kind of keep moving forward. Clearly, you're back for a reason. So use it. And don't change who you are just because you have the second chance kind of thing.
Exactly. So we will move somewhere on the sea. We would assume somewhere in the narrow sea heading south. Sam, Gilly, and Ellis. Sam works on dropping some water weight, and the two discuss their destination. I'll start with this one. She isn't really dumb. She just is ignorant, and there is a big difference with that. And she understands that she is ignorant, and wanting to learn it is very cute. And about the C/C thing, C-S-E-A or S-A-E, S-E-A, yeah, and S-E-E. I can't say I hadn't had the same thought. When I was younger, before you get into reading, you hear the word, "Oh yeah, there's the C." Oh, is that because that's as far as you can see? But it's not a illogical jump. There have been some videos put out there that I will say that could have a bit more meaning into it, that people just haven't thought about, to dump two words sounding the same.
Right. I think it came from like pirates when they're sail the seven seas. They kind of made it up. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
What are the seven C's, Glenn?
All right, Glenn, go ahead with your note.
Sure. So, it sounds like Gilly's going to get kind of bumped out again, as the Citadel doesn't admit women. So, like after that whole Molestown massacre or whatever, like Sam kind of promised, like, hey, like you and the babe are never leaving my side again.
Wherever
like we're
you go, I go.
We're gonna be on the same page. We're gonna be together. And then like now it's
except here
it changes again. So I can understand why she would be kind of pissed off, but at the same time, like Sam's trying to become a maester to help, in the long run, John, with the wall and all that, hoopla. So like it's one of those necessary things for him to do, and it's just hard. It seems like it's a challenge for him to kind of talk it over with Gilly here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. She has no bearing on why she can't go. I mean, she heard the exact same thing with the Night's Watch, and guess what? That worked out. Like she was able to hang out and just live there. But it's like this is a completely different thing. And even Sam calls it out. He's like, "Well, I don't have a Jon Snow, or a Maester Aemon here to help you stay and have that be okay." That's fundamentally against the rules to start with. But luckily, I had some friends in high places that allowed it. And I think whenever he kind of broaches the subject of taking her to Horn Hill, I think she was kind of pleasantly surprised by that option. Definitely might not be the easiest thing for Sam to do to go back home. We know how difficult it was there before, but I like that he's at least got a plan for it, and we'll see if it works out, I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was absolutely very cute. She's like, I don't care what they say or do. I'm not going to, I don't care. You're the child or my blah, blah, blah. You're the father of my child.
No,
Sorry for
he's
mumbling there.
not.
He's not, but it's a very cute, way to reaffirm that yes, you are a part of us, and it was just a sweet scene. So, anything else on the C/C?
I mean, the scene happened,
It did. All right, so
and it was a
we're gonna
real
move
baby.
to probably objectively one of the best scenes in the show, one of the ones that everybody was looking forward to, and it was a flashback, which Damon and Dan said we don't do flashbacks. Fuck you. We got the Tower of Joy.
No, you
Tower
do.
of Joy and Weirwood Cavern.
They've
Nice.
done it. They've done it before. They did it for
They've done one.
one
They did
one
the-
time.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Is when they did that, they made a whole deal of we're not gonna do them. Well,
Now you're doing them, motherfuckers.
you're doing them. Yeah. So we have Bran, Three-Eyed Raven, Ned, Howland Reed, Arthur Dane, Gerald Hightower, Northman, and White Cloaks. Well, I have White Cloaks, but there was only one other, which is Geraldine. So Bran watches as his father confronts two of the King's Guard trying to find his sister, and we learn why Arthur Dane was the greatest to ever live. Bran must learn everything. Luke.
Would you like to know who the other Northmen were? Because we
Please.
know this just as well as we know it's Gerald Hightower as opposed to Oswell Went. From IMDb, the 6 Northmen that make up this troop are Lord Eddard Stark, Lord Howland Reed, Ethan Glover, Lord Martin Cassell, Sir Mark Risewell, and Theo Wool. The only one from the book that is left out is actually Willem Dustin, who's the husband of Lady Dustin. But
That is an odd one to leave out.
it's an odd reason to leave out Oswell Went as well. So
Yes. But I'm just saying,
Oswell as well,
Carson,
Carson,
whatever.
But anyway, my real note for this set of scenes here is all of this is really, really good. Regardless of, hey, a couple more bodies in the scene would have made it really exactly what happened in the books, at least the quick flashbacks we get from it, but it's really done well. I love the I wish you good fortunes in the wars to come. If you'll remember, that was exactly the same verbiage that Mance Rayder says right before John, basically before he goes to the stake.
yeah.
And the whole, conversation between Ned and Arthur Dane is really, really well done. And
So are you confirming Arthur Dane is Mance Rayder?
I am
Just
not.
oh, okay. Just making sure.
No, he's not. And Tormund Giantsbane is not Gerald Hightower.
Do they have the same whatchamacallit? Like a mentor?
Cock size?
Maybe?
What?
Cock size? Yeah, that's what I was.
No, what
Do
were
they
you
have the
say?
same cock size? They're gonna say the same thing then.
No, what were you gonna say?
Same mentors and shit like that. To where would that be possible?
For who?
Whoever we're fucking talking about, goddamn Mance Rayder and
Unlikely.
Arthur Dane.
Unlikely.
How?
Yeah.
Because of
Like
how-
musicians have. Oh, like Johnny Cash is one of my idols growing up.
Oh,
Can't these guys have this?
influences.
Yeah,
Sure, they could have similar influences. Yeah, I'll allow that. That's fair.
you allow it.
Yeah. No, this is a really, really good scene for sure.
Yeah. Glenn, go ahead with your note on that.
Sure. So now it begins.
No, now it ends.
So you see Ned winning the fight with the help of Howland Reed. They're clearly using street rules here. One thing I found interesting, I think, whenever Ned fights Jamie, he kind of hears some fighting or whatever. Like I think this might be like one of those time where he kind of referred to like the fighting, I guess, when he's hearing the noises of fighting. He's fighting Jamie. I think this is what it refers to.
Very well could be. That's a good catch, actually. I never thought of that, but it definitely. My note on this is absolutely love this fight scene. Dane is the baddest motherfucker, and it seems a bit out of character, though, for Ned to have bragged about killing Arthur Dane when Bran says, it can't be possible. My father won. Are you sure? Yeah, I've heard the story 1,000 times. And he made it sound like Ned's told him the story 1,000 times, or over and over again. I mean, he could be meaning he heard it from everybody else that Ned killed Arthur Dane, but knowing Ned, he would have, if he talked about this fight with anybody, he would have been honest about it to a point, I believe.
So again, this is a little bit of book knowledge only. They don't really get into this in the show, but like when Mira and Jojen are talking about their old stories with Bran, we know that Ned always said that Howland Reed was really important in this fight, and so it's definitely open to our interpretation. I don't think Ned Stark was ever going around saying, "Wow, I killed Arthur Dane." Like, I just don't think that conversation. I don't think those words ever came out of his lips. Like,
yeah, no,
like as a brag.
Yeah, and me either, and that's just why hearing that line, it kind of confused me a bit, or made me pause, because it was like, I don't see Ned doing that, and I'm guessing it's from other people at Winterfell.
Kind of word got around that Ned was going down to Tower Joy to meet Arthur Dane. Ned comes back. Okay, well, he must have. We'll put the two into. We'll jump to conclusions over here.
Exactly.
Yeah. They need jump to conclusions, man.
Yeah. Other thing I did like, Ned was the one that took out Gerald Hightower to still show that he was a able hand. He did take out a King's Guard on his own. Last note was, that's not ice.
No, I don't think so.
And it's not Dawn either.
No. Well, I was thinking that could have been a poor substitute for Dawn, like their attempt at Dawn. But I think officially that can't have been ice. That sort of is way too small.
Yeah, well, ice has always been declared as a great two-handed sword, and probably even it's really more of a ceremonial thing than anything. A lot of interesting things about ice and Dawn that the show just decides to completely not dig into, because there's way too much, and theories abound all around the history of those two swords. And
right, but the thing that they did is they kind of made it like with this sword that Arthur Dane has. It has like the little sun or whatever on the bottom of it, making where like people are gonna think that it is the same sword that.
Yeah, exactly. They never really.
But it's not like. And doesn't the Three-Eyed Raven say the Sword of the Morning, or is he just
calls him the Sword of the Morning? Yep.
Yeah. So, and I think because our chat is saying that in the show it was supposed to be portrayed as Dawn. It might not be close to actually what Dawn's supposed to be, but
right. I think just a bad attempt at trying to make it just. We're gonna put Dawn in here, but like it's just a bad attempt at it.
Yeah. So, anything else on Tower of Joy and Weirwood Caverns? I know we kind of focused a lot on the fight itself. You want to talk about the caverns?
Yeah. So Bran, comes out and he's kind of complaining a bit that you finally show me something pretty fucking interesting, and he pulled me away from it. Because at the end of the fight scene, Ned wins and hears some screaming and starts walking up the stairs of the tower. And Bran calls out, father, and Ned turns around, and the Three-Eyed Raven's like, no, he probably just heard the wind. And Bran's like, bullshit, like, he fucking heard me. And he kind of pulls him out of it, and he's like, again, like, what the fuck? Like, come on, man. Like, clearly something more is going on here. And the Three-Eyed Raven uses his kind of classic line at this point, like, well, you're not going to be here forever, and you have like a lot to learn. And Bran's like how, like what? And he's like everything.
You can't stay for too long, or bad shit happens, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
But it's just like, when have you had a teacher that gives out a research project or something, and it's you can't research for that long on this. you
right,
got a limited.
Don't learn too much yet, but you have to learn everything. How am I supposed to do?
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do here?
What am I supposed to study? Where's the crib sheet?
Is that the Sword of the Morning or what? He's got two swords. He's dual wielding over here.
If he's got Dawn, why does he need two swords?
Other one is Dusk. Who knows? All right, so that everything for the caverns. I really don't have much on
Yeah,
that section.
overall, the fight scene, but just another quick kind of meta thing. Whenever they were putting out casting for this season, they put like a casting call out for like, hey, a true swordsman master, like someone who's legit good with swords.
In the
And
Swordery.
like whenever, people were trying to figure out what was going to happen for this season, that casting call kind of confirmed that Arthur Dane was going to be a character in this show. And I just
Yeah.
remember that being kind of a cool moment when that information came out.
Yeah, and now wasn't this guy kind of like the not inspector, but the advisor on the show?
I think he was one of the stunt coordinators to begin with, or maybe he became the lead stunt coordinator afterwards.
After he was chosen,
And he
or something,
also
but-
becomes a character to be named later, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Oh,
Uh-oh.
and look at that time.
Holy cow!
Spoiler.
Hey, hi everybody.
Hi,
Hey, there
Abby.
she
Welcome to the
is.
show.
Thanks.
First
Good
time
morning
watcher
to you
on the
too.
wall, Abby, Gertie of House Condescension.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, Ab, are you good to jump in with us?
Sure.
'Cause we are talking the Tower of Joy scene, which I don't even know if you know what that is.
I'm not really sure if I even saw that, but sure.
The Tower of Joy scene is actually the young Ned and Northmen taking on Arthur Dane and the other Kingsguard, Gerald Hightower,
Yes.
trying to go up to the tower. That area is known as the Tower of Joy.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about. We already got all of our thoughts off on it, so
Take it away,
floor's
Ab.
yours.
Well, we see here that the story goes a little differently than Bran at least heard from, his dad. And maybe not the most honorable death is given to the Sword of the Morning, if I think I get his name correctly, right? That's what we're talking about?
Yes,
That's
yes.
what we're talking
Arthur Dane, Sword of the
Yes.
Morning.
Arthur Dane.
Hell yeah. No things. Okay. I don't know. It's interesting that Bran is my biggest takeaway from that scene specifically is that Ned hears Bran.
Yeah.
Or does he?
Or he-
as
Wow.
he's told he wasn't, right?
He hears a fart in the wind.
He hears a fart in the wind.
Yeah.
Did somebody fart?
Yeah.
All we are is farts in the wind. All we are is farts breaking the wind. So, Abby, you liked that Bran seems to think that that Ned heard him.
Yes, I do.
I'll tell you that I
Um,
agree with you.
I think he hears him, which is interesting. And I don't know if we're going on past this to when they get pulled out of the dream either.
Yes, yes. It's all that all encompassing.
Okay, so he's like, I don't want to be 1,000 years old in a tree. And I was like, do you think that's what I wanted to do? And he says, what were you waiting on? On you. So for thousands of years, we're waiting on Bran Stark.
Apparently.
Right, apparently. Okay.
What do you got going on in the next 1,000 years?
You free?
So this is new.
Whoops.
Oh, hold on. Say that again. Internet glitch.
Me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Say that again, please.
I don't know what we were saying because you guys were all glitchy there. I don't know if
we were saying that you're glitchy.
Oh, cool. So what I like how 1,000 years, what are we waiting on for Bran Stark? I think is a little bit more significant than just I've been waiting for you. You're the answer to our prayers or whatever. Because I mean, to me, that guy sounds he seems pretty legit. We got some children of the forest. They've been there for thousands of years or whatever.
It's a commitment.
It's definitely a commitment, and he's not going to stay there. But it makes me wonder. He says, "Till you know everything." Like he's gonna know. I'm just so confused. So it's so exciting. Like
Well, if you haven't read the World Book or the new Fire and Blood, you'd understand it takes about 1,000 goddamn years to read. So
oh well,
I kid. Yep. Did we lose her again?
She's
She's
frozen.
frozen. Hello.
If we just
Get on
we just
that
stop
tonight.
moving.
I'll let you know. There, literally just.
All right, Abby, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm gonna go kick everybody off my Wi-Fi. So, give me a second.
Okay. Do you have any final thoughts on this cavern scene before we jump along? I know you've got a. I'm sure this is a big one for you. So
No real final thoughts here just now.
okay, we'll see you in a minute.
Okay. All right. So we're going to head on across the narrowest of seas to Vas Dothrak, Daenerys, Kalmoro, and the Dash Kalin. Dany returns to where she always belonged and learns she may not be safe just yet. I'm going to... Glenn, go ahead and start this one.
Yeah, so the thing I took away from this scene is the two horse statues as they enter the town or whatever. They look pretty majestic, pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of like the Titan of Bravos, in that they're just the huge statues that kind of similar to Lord of the Rings type architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, pretty a good sight to see, in my opinion.
Agreed. The visuals of this scene are really cool. You kind of see the Dothraki horde being brought in, and then the updated Vas Dothrak. I don't think it looked this cool in season 1 when she
It was a little bit limited on the shots that they.
a little bit limited.
This is the same place.
Yeah. But Dany just doesn't learn. These people don't give a fuck who you are. Keep playing the big name game. See how well it works out for you. Yes, it's worked in the past. Fine. But you don't have your dragons with you. You don't have your, Unsullied. You don't have your sellswords or whoever else. You're all alone.
You don't
Maybe
have your
a little humility.
You don't have your
And
starting
then try to figure it out.
quarterback.
Just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she's done the same thing over and over again, and it has always ended up working out for her. So like,
It has.
she
I
hasn't
know.
needed to try any other tactics. It's just it works.
This is what she knows. This is
It gets thrown in her face at first because she looks like a little girl trying to stand up for herself, and then it fucking works out because she actually is,
She gets lucky.
or she's exceptional.
Fine. There's a 50-50 of exceptional or lucky.
Well,
It's
if
better to
you've
be
read
lucky
Fire
than
and
right.
Blood, you know that Targaryens fall under the law of exceptionalism. So there you go.
exceptional.
Fair. All right, Ab, you're back with us? No. Okay.
Nope.
No.
But
No.
Glenn,
No.
for your
No.
horse statue comment, I completely agree. It reminds me of the Gates of Argonath, the two statues with their hands held out in the in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, like kind of entrance to the area.
Right. You've arrived
We've arrived.
at Vase Dothrak once you see the
Man,
two big
we
ass
are
horses.
so there now. It's like you get to Las Vegas and you see, like the welcome to Las Vegas, or you see the Hollywood sign at LA, and you're like, I've made it now.
Right. You see a landmark. The Statue of Liberty is, I think, what I brought up last time when we did the Titan. Similar to that. Yeah. You've arrived.
When you can see the landmark. I think that's a good point. I don't have a whole lot of thought on this scene. It's going to be interesting to see what she's kind of forced into doing here. Knowing that they remember her here, like it's kind of similar to what Benji was saying. Like, they were there when you ate that horse heart. Like, they know who you are and where you came from. They kind of don't care, and I don't know. It's kind of shitty situation for her.
I'm Daenerys Storm. We know. We get it.
Ab, your thoughts?
We actually wrote them down.
I thought that the lady, whoever's kind of like in charge, and because there's more than one of these Khaleesi's there, or ex-Khaleesi's, that she was a lot gentler than she could have been. Kind of like, oh, I'll let you have your thing. I'll let you say your piece or whatever. And you cute little thing. Yeah, you're just going to be stuck here with the rest of us. It takes time and adjustment to get there, but
Right.
okay, we can think that for now.
Eventually, it's going to be a Golden Girls type situation with.
Yeah, and you'll fall in line, not to worry. Instead of, I don't know, kind of big dogging her, she just, all right, you can think that sweet little thing. And
Yeah, and then I like
doesn't
kind of how she smacks her down at the very end. She's like, "You were supposed to come right back. You didn't. Now you get to face the tribunal."
Yeah.
It's like, you see, yeah, this isn't your only fate. This is your best option. So keep being, a smart ass.
I thought that was going to
And
be your trivia question. What is the name of the great?
hey,
tribunal
I'm
judge?
here. I
Oh
get
yeah.
a trivia
Okay.
question.
Okay.
All right,
Yep.
Abby, get the trivia question.
So the trivia question was, who was the lead Dash Colleen wife to?
Oh, I have no idea. Moving along.
It may have actually just been. Oh, it was close in the subtitles of the screenshots. It was.
Oh, did I have it in the subtitles?
No, I was saying it was close. There were words right
Well,
around it.
yeah, I made sure not to get that. Like I was gonna say, I wasn't gonna give that one away.
And rehashing old things, just so I can get this out of there. The very first scene of this episode, if you've seen Disney's Tarzan, there's this whole thing about a piranha. He's like, "Don't touch it. It's a piranha. It's not a piranha. He's alive. He's alive." And that's how I felt about John. I just had the little, what's his name? Not
Tantor?
Kerchak. It's Tantor. Yeah, well, Tantor going, "He's alive. He's alive." Sorry.
No,
Tidbit.
fair. Well, really quick, we'll cover it. You only missed one other scene besides that. The Sam, Gilly, and Ellis on the boat. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that Gilly won't go with him, and she's going to his parents' house, which we know his dad's a big old dick, but we haven't really heard about his mom or his
A lot of
sister
dick
before,
talk in this episode.
which he talks very highly and kindly of, so that's exciting. And I did think it was really funny when the second time he gets sick, Gilly stands up. I thought she was just like out. Like I thought she was just like getting up and leaving, but she brings him something kindly. And lastly on that scene, being seasick is literally the worst. It's the worst.
I wouldn't know.
I would. Not fun.
All right. Anybody got anything else on the Vostoth Rock scene with Danny in this? Any final thoughts here? Okay.
Nope.
So we're gonna go to Marine then. We got Varys and Vala. That was gonna be actually the other one was the other question I had was what was Vala's son's name? But I thought that was a little easier.
Dom.
So yep. Dom. Varys uses his skills of persuasion to learn new information. I'm gonna start this one. I still feel like Varys is legit the most dangerous man in Earthos. When you control the males, you control information. Shout out to Newman there. But yeah, he's just one because he does, it's all about the realm. It's all about getting to the final step for him. Like he doesn't care about the little people. He does, but he doesn't. So it's one of those, he could hurt anyone that he wanted. He could have anyone in the world killed. He just doesn't. And that's even scarier than somebody that could kill anyone, like physically kill anyone. He could have you killed. He just chooses not to.
So I think you're making a lot of really good points and one vital mistake. No.
Okay.
No, I'm kind of teasing, but I mean that. No. So I agree that he is completely capable of doing that, and controlling that information is a huge weapon in his arsenal. It's the main weapon. But I don't think he would ever actually do it. I think he wants you to believe that he would. And the information that he can pull on you to enhance the threat of that is good enough. And I guess if it really came down to it, sure. But I don't think he's ever going to harm children. Like it seems like he's
children.
threatening.
I don't believe
that's
so.
That's the clarification I wanted to make. Is I don't think he would ever actually. Whenever he says I wouldn't harm Dom or children, I believe him.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to push that button. That's why I think he gives like the third option. It's like, well, these two things that I just said are bad, but there is a third thing that's good.
Yeah.
So do that.
I mean, and with what he went through as a child, I truly believe he would never harm a child.
The trimmings,
you know,
you
so
mean?
yes, his weight loss. You know, I would never think that he would, but I'm saying but my one argument of, you know, what you were saying of he doesn't need to. He has used it in the past. He sent a hitman at Danny. You know, it failed, but he sent it because he felt it's what needed to be done.
Okay.
You know, so in that instance, you're correct that he would choose not to use that information if he doesn't need to, but he will if he has to.
I'm not really in this argument. I don't have enough information. But did Varys send the like? It wasn't his decision
It
to
was-
kill Danny,
it was-
wasn't it?
He was working with Jorah. We know that he was sending the letters to Jorah,
Right.
and we don't know specifically. I don't think that it was him that sent the hitman. He could have just stood
'Cause he
aside
was-
as Robert Baratheon made the call.
He put the word out to his birds, who put the word out.
Got you. I just figured it was like Robert saying, "Get this done," and he was just the guy that did it.
He was
But
just the
he could've-
vessel. It wasn't a decision that
Yes.
he made.
No,
He could have chosen not to, but
exactly. But
Yeah.
he also, it's implied he gave word to Jorah that
Yeah.
it was coming to defend Danny. You know,
okay.
I don't know if
yeah.
that was implied. I think Jorah just figures it out.
Well,
that's it.
I think
I mean, it could be either way.
somebody like Varys, he always plays his cards close to his face. Sometimes he doesn't always like make threats like you see him doing here. It's more of a, you know, kind of behind the scenes of stuff that he does. So a lot of things you don't even know what his motives are, or you know, if he did this or that, or but you know, here it's kind of different because he's saying threats to this girl or whatever, and you don't always see this side of him. What I'm getting at, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Luke,
I kind of like that Varys is giving Vala the Shea treatment, the hashtag Shea Stadium treatment. He did almost the same exact speech, not word for word anything, but at least the meaning behind it
Right.
to Shea.
Here's a chunk of change.
Hey, here's a bunch of cash. You should leave. Like just
Get out of Dodge.
just
go
leave.
now. You
It's
go now.
it's in your best interest if you just go.
So I just thought it was a nice little reminder
Yeah.
back to that scene.
Yeah,
My point is very much what Glenn just said. I haven't seen Varys quite like this before, I guess. It was nice to see, I don't know, like the side of him, but usually we see him with Tyrion lately in the last couple of scenes, like seasons, Tyrion or somebody who's funny and they make their quick little jokes. It's nice to see the business side, I guess.
Yeah, we still know he's a pretty cold cut combo, if you will. Like if it comes down to it, he's got the information. He's not afraid to use it, but
he's no hot Italian.
he's not a hot Italian, and he is certainly not a tuna sandwich.
Well,
There's
Cheers.
evidence against that, I guess.
all right, moving on.
All
It's still a
cut
Marine.
combo.
We have
I have one before every
I
round.
eat 3 a day to help keep me strong. Hey, Happy, can I have one of those?
Coming right up.
all right. So we got still a Marine, Tyrion, Missandei, Grey Worm, and Varys. Tyrion is bored and wants some entertainment. G-Dub and Missy are their usual party animals, and Varys arrives with information about the Harpies. Abby, your thoughts on this scene?
I thought it was very funny when Tyrion said, if I wasn't here, what would you be talking about? Patrol. What we did on patrol. He's like, no, like conversational. It's like teaching somebody how to be social who's extremely not. Very difficult place to be in. And for Tyrion, who is like a master of
Social maverick.
social setting. Yeah, it's like this has to be so daunting.
Right.
It's just funny.
Glenn?
Yeah, at one point Tyrion says, or why don't you guys drink or whatever? Like, oh, we do not drink or whatever. And Tyrion just goes, until you do.
Until you do.
I don't know. I just thought that was really funny.
The line before that is, don't you guys play games? You've never played a game before? My Mr. Krasnys used to make us play games. See, there we go. Only the girls. Oh, no, 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 no.
Not those kinds of games. Let's
Drinking games. We don't drink
Correct that.
until you do. And then the next line of it is, a wise man once said that the true history of the world is a history of great conversations in elegant rooms.
Who said that?
Who said this? Me.
Just
now.
Just now.
It's a great, great little
One-liner.
yeah, cockiness to let them know, but it is a actual very, well thought out line, like a very poignant line. That is what actually history is. It's only what the people who sit around the elegant rooms decide the history is actually going to be. So, Luke, go ahead.
So towards the end of this scene, Varys comes in and they're kind of like, Tyrion's like, where have you been? Like, I need you. Like, this is rough.
Yeah.
Passing the time here is not the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. And he kind of complains that it took him so long, and then Varys goes through the whole, well, I got the information that we're looking for. Sometimes that takes a little time. And so they kind of Tyrion starts to talk about this plan to have these conversations with the different masters of Astapor, Volantis, and why can't I think of Yunkai? Munkai. And
Come on to Eris.
Tyrion basically says, how are we going to get word there? And Varys says, we're going to send birds. And Tyrion basically throws back, like, can you really trust that? And I liked Varys' response of, men can be fickle. Birds, I always trust. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's just an interesting take on what his perspective and his ability is. And I just liked him kind of showing his strength there, that the information line is what he brings to the table, and it's worked for him this far. Benj, you're muted. And Abby, you are too, if you were trying to talk a second ago.
Okay. Sorry, I was saying it is a great transition into the next scene that leads right into, but it basically tells again of how he trusts his birds, he trusts his children, because children will lie to you, but they do it impulsively, like just for their own gain, instead of they'll do it for their own protection instead of trying to overthrow something or screw someone over. Most of the time children are going to be honest, and that's why he trusts his birds in that instance. One other thought I had, sorry Ab, go ahead. I'll go back to my thought.
Oh, I don't have any thoughts. I was trying to get my little birds to put their pajamas on, which apparently cannot happen without me actually going out there and doing that. So anyways, I don't know if I realized, like, this probably is a little later on, like the birds that they were talking about.
Tape.
Have we ever been confirmed that they were children before this point? Am I ridiculous?
I thought they were birds.
Yeah, this is the first blatant example. Other than like whenever Littlefinger was walking around with Ned and was like, "Hey, you see that person over there? That's one of Cersei's, informants. That one over there is Varys." And they point to one. He's like, "Oh, and that one's mine."
But were they children?
I don't. In that scene, I don't think they
Varys
were.
Was younger.
Okay, because I just assumed it was always like, could have been children. Like, that's fine, but just little birds, like people who are little and insignificant within themselves, not actually just the children. So,
but think about it this way too. The two notes that have gotten to Dany's people, first Jorah getting the pardon right before the poisoning was from a child.
Right.
Then Sir Barristan got another note saying, giving the information about Jorah was from another child. So it's kind of
was that implied that Varys sent that one too?
I believe so.
Yeah. What is his move there, or motive for doing that?
Good question.
Thank you. Muting myself now. Sorry.
Is it possible?
Continue talking. I'll listen.
Is it possible that it's like a Animorphs type situation where these little kids turn into like a raven or something and they fly?
I hope so.
To where they go to, like that would be. I mean, that's a cool theory that I think should. I'll write George on it.
Yeah. Well, we'll tweet him. And the chat brought up a good point of, this is again more just book information, but it doesn't hurt anything for Abby's precious little ears to hear. Whenever Varys was back in Essos working with Illyrio Mopetus, they called their little spy network little mice instead at that point. So it was a very similar thing, I think. And he was kind of Varys was a master of thieves and kind of started stealing from the thieves to give it back. It was like a weird, cool, fun thing that he became really, really good, and then developed a spy network through that means that he started working with Illyrio. And so that's a fun thing that we'll get to explore in the books when we get there.
Hey.
So my last note on the scene is Missandei learning a lot of impulsiveness. A bit, I shouldn't say impulsiveness, but I can't think of a better term, from her queen, because she reminded me very much of Ali in this scene. Once she found out who was kind of dictating what's going on, she's like, "There's only one thing they know, and it's this." And now coming from Missandei, it's a little less dickish, I guess, or is the best way compared to Ali. You know, even though they're kind of saying the same things.
It's a half-second scene. It's not a whole season and a half of it.
Yes, exactly. That's another reason why it's like, okay, this is 1/2 second. It's like fine, but seeing her show that emotion, it's actually kind of refreshing to show a break in her uptight, not uptight character. You know, very composed. She's losing it a bit, not losing it. She's losing her composure a
Reserved.
bit.
She's always very reserved, and she
Yes.
doesn't express her opinions because she's been trained to just be the voice of somebody else, and she's always done that for Dany. And yeah, so like it. When you first watch this, sometimes, and Abby, let me know if you disagree, it almost seems very out of character for her to kind of do this, to like stand up and have a thought of her own for like the first time. And like it kind of can be confusing, but then it's like, yeah, I mean, she is a real person and she does have real emotions and her own history. And I like seeing that. I like seeing the influence that Dany has had on her and that Tyrion has had on her to, yeah, be yourself. Like, have your own thoughts a bit because we respect you and we like you. Like,
I see her being out of character because we haven't really seen it too much. I think we get a little bit when it's her and Grey Worm alone. But as far as when, you know, the leaders or whoever are present, yes, she's very much takes the back seat. But with that said, I don't have that big, like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. And I think it's because both Dany and Tyrion have never expected that of her. So it wasn't some big striking, like, oh my God, she's gonna, you know, oh, good for her, big win. I just like that now maybe she and the Khaleesi, Dany, will be able to like have a more leveled playing field type of conversation, because I think Missandei is a very interesting character. She's very smart.
Oh, yeah.
She knows so much.
19 languages and yeah. No, but
Yeah.
would you ever use them?
And actually,
It's so funny.
And one thing that Luke made me think of was just earlier in the scene is like this line I brought up. My master Crassus made the girls play games, you know, kind of thing. Maybe that sparked something in her that she. I'm not saying it is, but maybe that, you know, sparked something. And then once it's brought up, she's like, "Ah, fuck you."
Yeah, no, it basically like primes her to be kind of in an upset, very, very well.
You know, she's reminded
deserved.
of this.
Yeah,
you know,
because it sounds like she probably went through that
trauma.
too, because she said just the girls, and she would have been one of those. So she's been through some bad experiences herself, other than just being a slave, which is shitty. So, yeah, I liked it.
All right. Anybody got anything else on Marine? Nope. All right. Real quick ad. Check out our support us page at thepodcastthat.com. Microfingers Flea Bottom Emporium, where you can get your own North Remembers North Face style shirt. I will link this in the chat here. It is a cool little shirt with the kind of North Face here with some blood on it, and the North Remembers. But we have a bunch of other different options in there. A bunch of, I was going to say bobbleheads, FTS, a bunch of Funko Pops. I know he's not in the chat, but he may watch this back. So we do have a bunch listed in there. Maybe some you don't have. I doubt it, but you never know. Flea, I know you're working in your collection. So, and we have some that are discounted in there. I just looked a little less than the $20 average. So, Anyway, make sure you check out the podcastthat.com/microfingers flea bottom emporium. And it just helps us out with, gives us a little kickback anytime you buy something from there. So awesome. Luke, I think, ran for a beer run, but we will move on to King's Landing. Yeah, there he is. In King's Landing, we have Little Birds, Kyburn, Cersei, Jamie, Kevin, Mace, GMP, Olena, and Zombie G. Or Zombie Gregor.
Kyborg.
Kyborg, yes. Kyburn treats his birds, Cersei calls for retribution, and the crew interrupt a small council meeting and are left feeling dumb. Luke, I'll let you start this one off.
Yeah, I have thoughts probably. Let's see. Yeah, so Varys seems to have been pretty good to the children, at least for the way they're reacting to what Kyburn is doing here, because they're basically like asking for Varys, like, where's Varys? Is he ever coming back? Like, this kind of feeds into the comment that I just had a minute ago about I don't think he would ever hurt children. Varys, that is, and we've talked about Varys quite a bit this episode, but there's a lot kind of going around him, and I think this scene, the way the kids that were clearly working for him, these little birds, are reacting to him not being there, and it is pretty telling to Varys' true character, in that he wouldn't hurt children, and he treated them pretty well, it sounds like. And Kyburn is doing pretty solid manipulation here as he goes to kind of get into those same good graces, kind of piggybacking off what Varys started.
Varys Warbucks.
Varys Warbucks. I mean, basically, and I just think that's pretty interesting, because Varys is a very interesting character.
Sure, and you see the birds are kind of playing on the new team now, so they're not used to like a new guy, and I think he gives them these treats. You know, what do you do for kids that are new? You give them candy. But these kids should know not to get candy from strangers.
I was going to say, the greatest way to get people to come to our comic book store, we need to get a van and maybe just have some candy in there that, hey, we'll give you free rides, and, that'd be great.
Or was it, you guys ever watch Workaholics? There was that one episode where the one guy, he buys this van and it says grape van.
Does the G fall off? That reminds me of a real life example that we have for the Grape Festival in Nauvoo, Illinois, where they have the annual Grape Queen, and the G fell off on the float. And that year, she was the Rape Queen. So that's a true story.
True story
that we learned from our grandmother.
So, I'm with Jamie on that. That trial by Wombat's gonna be one for the record books. Whoever they put up against
Wombat.
Whoever the faith could, they'll put 1-on-1, and it'll be Lancel or some shit. That'll be the day to see something like that. But it's just I can see where Jamie's like, "What'd you do to him?" And Kyburn's like, "Oh, many things." Like,
yeah.
You don't want to know.
Sick bastard.
Yeah, exactly. Glenn, did you get your note in?
Yeah, a little bit about it. Something I thought was just really the Pycelle flatulence.
Yeah,
is what it says on the subtitles.
It does. It literally says farting.
Yeah, on the Blu-ray it says Pycelle flatulates in brackets.
Yeah.
On Vudu, it says farts.
Farts. He fart.
I actually have a screen cap of it.
Oh, do we? Okay,
Farts.
I'm working on it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get to it real quick. Yeah, that was my other note on that is I don't care how lowbrow it is. A good GMP pooping himself will always get a solid chuckle. Just what about that monster? Gregor.
Yeah.
I don't care what they said. He's just. Abby, put your thoughts on that.
I will say it wasn't exactly clear to me that the birds had like switched teams, as Glenn's note says. It confused me. I wouldn't think that Varys would be in cahoots with Qyburn and the Lannisters. It wasn't blatantly clear to me. Again, I could have missed something and just not should have just assumed that they have now just switched allegiance. But I was a little concerned about that.
So apparently
and
the birds are fickle. Just
they, right. And Glenn, you didn't spoil it for me. What is it? The
Flatulence.
Wikia of this episode specifically spoiled it for me. I was like, oh, I was wrong. Okay, not wrong, but okay, confirmed there. And then the only other thought I had on this little set of scenes here is has anybody ever heard of the movement, a seat at the table? It's like where women should speak up in board meetings and be listened to.
Mhm.
The real Lannisters should be their spokespeople. They should take Lannister classes. How many times have we seen a Lannister drag a chair, plop down a chair exactly at a table where they want it? They get it. They should just take classes from them because they would
but
get
in
right
fairness,
up.
everybody was like, "Okay, you can stay. You can't make us stay."
Yes. This time. But they're not scared to take their seat, which
We've seen
good on them.
Tyrion do it. I mean, they're
We've
really
seen Maul do it. They're
we're
really
They are solid at putting a chair at the table,
that's-
Abby.
that's
Yeah, I guess
what they
Cersei did
do.
it before Tyrion did it, right? She put it right next to Tywin at that scene.
That's what
Same
they do.
They
They put
drink and they
chairs.
put chairs at the table.
Yep.
Seats at the
They're good at
table.
it.
Let me be clear.
Yep.
Follow them on Twitter at seats at the table. I don't know. There's probably a good hashtag out there. Find them.
Find them.
So, anybody got anything else on Small Council and Little Birds?
Right. I guess really, I don't think that like the birds were like picking, oh, well, let's be a part. I think it was more of they were just there, and then I guess like Cersei and Qyburn were like, hey, you guys do what we say now.
Yeah.
I bet you that was what happened.
Well, and that was kind of the whole point of, when he was like, well, I found these candied
The
plums.
candies. Yes.
Candied plums. And that was question number 4 I had. What did Qyburn give? Candied plums. But I have these canned plums. And it's kind of one of those things. People in general, it's the same thing that goes back to what Vari's riddle. Where does power lie? It's where the observant, believes it does. And so now Varys is gone, and this guy got rid of that kid's father. He's not going to be bothering them, and he's giving them sweets. So there we go. So
How's your mother?
I said that in
She's
jest.
doing well. How's your father? No one's heard from him, and no one will.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My only other thought on this scene was Lady Tyrell talking about how Marjorie is the queen. I understand these things can
yes.
be quite confusing in your family. Just as always, a solid dig.
Yes. I'm glad
brings
you
the
brought that
dice.
up. That was the best highlight of the scene or whatever. And how I just don't understand how Cersei's like the queen. Or she thinks that that's gonna fly. I don't know. Whatevs.
Yeah. No. Good questions. So, next scene we have Tommen and the High Sparrow plus some little sparrows and some Kingsguardmen. Tommen confronts the High Holy Man and is shown the light. I'm going to start this one. Okay, so seriously, when will people stop letting Tommen be talked to by adults alone? I mean, seriously, the kid's like is such a sponge and a spineless twit. No matter what an adult says, he's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I completely get it. And I'm getting it. High Sparrow was not talking anything wrong, and it's not a bad thing to listen to your religious leaders and all that. But at the same time, every time we see Tommen talk to an adult, his perspective changes, because he just kind of falls into what they're saying. And so it's just kind of one of those like, come on, have you not figured this out yet? Do not leave the kid alone.
So I'm gonna piggyback off what you're saying and give Abby some shit while I'm doing it, because it's nothing that she did wrong. It's something that she was completely right about at the time, and he is so coachable, and it was such a
Yes.
positive thing, and I get that. But he's not really coachable. He's just moldable. He doesn't
Yes.
learn. He just conforms. Which every single conversation he has, he ends up going with what the advice given is without really pushing back. Like he tries so hard to push back,
Right. You see him trying here,
but then he doesn't.
He's easily like distracted by the games that the High Sparrows trying playing here, and it's just like you see Tom and do this and that and this, and then High Sparrows, well, I'm not going to do that because this, and then just kind of, and then the conversation just turns, and now the ball's in his court, and then he just kind of plays his game, and Tommen just kind of goes with it, like oh okay, yeah.
So I think instead of coachable from now on, my notes earlier used the word, he's extremely considerate to a fault. He's not just like, oh, he lets people get their thoughts out and he sees it. It's empathetic. He sees it from their thing or from their side. He's like, okay, I get that you're not wrong. So obviously this is the right path to go down. He's coachable, I guess, but he's just highly considerate, which is just not a good thing for him in the long run.
I agree
He's
with
that
you.
friend that constantly gets pushed over.
He just gets shit on because he cares so much. Like,
yes,
I
he's
agree
such
with you
a
entirely.
decent person.
He is the worst king. Like it's like the unfortunate nature of needing to be a leader is you kind of have to be a dick at times just to get something done. Even if it's not the right thing for absolutely every person, there are times where things just kind of have to get done. Like, don't go out of your way to harm people, but someone's going to get hurt with almost every decision is what it kind of turns into. And if you keep waffling on every single thing, your word doesn't really mean anything.
Like Tommen did last night. Yeah. So, Glenn, did you get your notes in?
I didn't really have anything else to add.
Okay. Luke, did you get all yours?
Oh man, the High Sparrow himself. It's not what I want. It's what the gods want. They make their will known, and it's up to us to ignore it or accept it. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I believe he's as pious as he says, but he's literally the one deciding this. Like, I just fundamentally have problems with it. Like, no, he's the one that's deciding that we're gonna have a trial. He's the one that made that choice. But it's not him. Hands off. You can't question the religion side of it. I just have fundamental problems with that mentality. Like, I'm sure it's by the book. Fuck that book.
I don't disagree with you. 7-pointed star. Don't disagree with you. Ab, did you get your notes in or your thoughts in?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go on another Jojen boat to Bravos. Yeah, I actually said it right. Only got a season left to get. Season I have to get left for the damn Jojen shit.
Jojen transport.
In Bravos, we got a bunch of nobodies. Arya and the Waif play the game of faces as her hand-ear coordination improves. Having faith shows her the way. Abby, I'll let you start on this one.
I just don't understand. So the waif is questioning her about all these people in her life. She's naming name after name. Tell me about this person. How does she know about these people? How does she know what's true or what's a lie? And I guess, yes, she could be very good at detecting a lie. But then she asks about the hound. Did Arya tell her about the hound? I feel like she's being interrogated. And then what is Waif doing with this information? I feel like she's maybe working for somebody else.
Well, the way I interpret it, I don't think there's any spoilers here. They are so apt at reading facial cues and tells that Arya tells when she lies, and they might be super subtle. And that's, first of all, how she's picking it up. And she had asked her about her list and all that. And she had mentioned the hound before to Jaqen. So the Waif and Jaqen are working together. But the Waif is bad cop, Jaqen's good cop right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I just wonder, like, why do they want all this information out of her? And where I feel like it could almost be, not that it is, but it could almost be here we're going to let her work towards something or whatever, but really we're spying on her and her people who are close to her and people who have information, and we are really working for not necessarily the Lannisters, but some other party that want to infiltrate Westeros, the Starks. I don't know.
True, and and with that point, that does sound very similar to a known quote unquote religion that uses information of people that open up, do therapy sessions and everything, and then later on they use it against them.
Is that
So that's
Barryism?
what's that?
Barryism or
More
I'm just
United
kidding.
States-ish.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
I'm not
joking for.
naming to avoid any lawsuits. So, but it's been known to happen in current time, religion. So I could see how where you're coming from with that mentality of, are they just gaining this information to later use?
Right.
That's a fair thought.
And Abby, I will tell you, there are definitely some fan theories out there that there is a lot more specific reason as to why they're going after Arya to get her involved.
Yeah.
So and again, that's more book based than anything. But
I just feel like coming soon, we're gonna have some heavy hitters like in this world. We're gonna have the Lannisters. We're gonna have Jon Snow, Dany. And I'm trying to think of maybe somewhere else, but I think that's it. I think that's gonna be like the three. We're gonna have like King's Landing versus the people who team up with the Jon and the Night's Watch kind of northern men. And then we have Dany coming in from the other side. And I just feel like if we know Jon is, and we know Bran can see things in the future and in the past, apparently. So maybe other people can do this shit and they know they need to get to Jon, then Arya's a great way. So, I don't know. I just don't trust anybody. Fuck you, Game of Thrones, making me so cynical.
No longer a sweet summer child with us,
No.
folks. All right, Lenny, what's your thoughts on this scene?
Sure. Arya gets knocked down, but she gets up again. You're never gonna keep her down.
she drinks a warm
whiskey.
lager drink.
She drinks a mead drink. She drinks a wine drink.
And
She drinks a boiled or
a
potted
Bostaff
water.
drink here.
Pissing the night away.
She sings the songs that remind her of the good times.
With John.
She sings the song as a reminder of
the
better
better
times.
With hot pie.
With hot
With
pie.
hot pie.
and Gendry.
Chumbawamba.
Here's the first Chumbawamba cheers on the show.
Chumbawamba reference of the year.
Offline, we actually had a pretty solid Baja Men reference in person here earlier. Benji made a Who Let the Dogs Out reference. So there was that.
Who let the
as
dogs
well.
out? Who
Very,
let
very
the dogs
similar
out?
musical
Who let them damn nuts
lineage of the day.
go?
And that just reminded me of something I have to do once we're done streaming tonight.
You have to let the dogs out.
I have to let the dogs out.
Hey, get back,
Yes.
Scruffy.
So mine is with the during the Game of Faces scene. It's kind of telling, or something is kind of telling. It's interesting. Arya always considered Jon a true brother. Like, and this is kind of more of a book
brother.
thing. They don't really explain on it show wise, but she always said Jon is my brother, and always looked at him that way. Sansa was the one that was like, oh yeah, our half brother, and always made it obvious that half brother. But when she says I have 4 brothers, she gets smacked. And so they can tell she's lying. So it's a weird little dichotomy, or I don't know, thought process of where it's not entirely built into her brain that she's her full brother. So I just thought that honestly was the most interesting part of this scene, because if you convince yourself of the lie is true, but she's still giving a tell saying the lie is a lie.
I think she just knows it's true. I think Waif already has the information, so she knows. I don't think Arya is giving any tells
You think she know that the waif knows what?
that Jon isn't her brother. I think Waif already has the information. Waif already knows who she's associated with. Waif already knows who her parents are, what her family's about. I think she knows everything. I think Jaqen knows everything. And
So she knows specifically that Jon is her half brother, and just
Yeah.
calling her out on just because Arya doesn't really believe that. She always looks at him, as Benji was saying, as
yeah,
he's just my
as his-
brother. But she's calling him out
don't-
on the technicality of half brother.
Yes, I
Okay.
think that is
Yeah.
the
And in fairness, we know Jaqen was with the Night's Watchmen, who they may have talked about the new Lord Snow coming up and everything that it could have been like. I'm just kind of like bringing Abby's thought process into it. I could kind of justify her thought process with it because he was with the Night's Watchmen. They could have talked about the new.
Corin knew about him. He was there with Benjen and Tyrion in that scene when Jon was dropped off. So, yeah, there's some there.
So I'm just saying it's a possibility that So I'm not going to rule it out. It's a fair thought process because I can justify it. So there we go. Luke, go ahead and finish us off for this one.
So I really liked when it got to the Sandor Clegane conversation that Arya admits that she was confused about Sandor, because it came down to, and this is a big discussion after that episode where Sandor fights Brienne and she leaves him there. But did she do it out of mercy or did she do it out of she wanted him to suffer? Or basically she didn't outright kill him like he was asking for. And like the conflict in her was pretty obvious then. And she hasn't really, well, as usual with Arya, she doesn't really deal with things very well because she's never had to learn how. She's always been able to kill her way through or just ignore it and just continually brood on it.
Ask questions later.
Right. And so it was kind of nice for her to have this emotional response to a character that we saw her grow fairly, I don't know, attached, but at least close to in a certain way. And she clearly respected him. She learned a lot from him. And again, as I'll always say, that's one of my favorite pairings in the show that we've ever had is Sandor and Arya. And because I like what it does for Arya, even though she doesn't know it. And this is kind of one of the revelations she has to see it herself a bit, that I did want him to die for certain reasons, but I didn't want him to die for other reasons. And that's why she left him there. But she had taken him off the list. She admits that. And I just liked her kind of coming to Sandor Jesus moment here. It was just good to see. I liked it.
Oh, very good. One other thought though is, I mean, I understand where Jaqen was coming from, but you have to admit when she's literally given water to the first guy that came into the house that wanted his daughter to die, and the girl died, and now she's getting water from the same exact spot. It's a little scary, I understand it's faith. It's all,
Yeah, but does it just give you what you really want or really need? Like, is it like a mirror of
she builds
Ezra?
up an immunity to it.
Ezra,
yeah,
Ezra.
desire backward, whatever. Is that what it does? Gives you that? Era said.
Yeah.
I wasn't even listening. To be completely fair.
I know. I was really upset. I could see you over there typing and working things out, and I'm like, Luke, you know what I'm talking about. Say it correctly for me.
I show you not your image, but your heart's desire.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Anything else on Bravos?
One of the better Bravos scenes we've had lately. I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's showing growth and movement, and I'm in full agreement. So we're gonna go up to Winterfell. We got Ramsay, Karstark, Umber, Osha, and the Nutcracker. Lord Umber refuses to bend the knee, however, delivers a gift for his allegiance. Abby, I'm going to start you off on this one. This is the Osha moment.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little thing. Last episode, in my notes for that, I had down at the bottom a list of who I'm still wondering where they are. Benjen is always on top. But I added to it, where's Osha?
Just recently?
Just recently, like just within before watching this.
Where's the OSHA regulations at in the workplace?
Yeah. So it's been a while since we've seen them, and I have no idea why, because it wasn't like some spoiler or like something I saw on next episode, and I thought, oh, where are they? I don't know. And then this comes out, and they pull, oh, I'm so terrified. Like, I have no other thoughts except they're in Ramsay's clutches, which Osha in Theon's clutches scared me. But, she totally bossed her way out of that. But Ramsay's another beast. So I don't know how that one goes. I feel like we need to take over Winterfell very quickly. Anybody, anyone, take it over. I don't care who. Lannisters get up there. Lady Olenna get up there. I don't care who it is. Just go get
You're
them.
just looking for a change in management. You're looking to
Yeah,
oust the new Winterfellas.
Yes, they need to go. So, I mean, Sand Snakes, hey, I'll even welcome you back at this point. Like,
Now
just
that
get
would
on.
be that's good stuff. I like I like where you're going with this. Give
I
them
was
some
gonna say,
redemption.
Yes.
Unnamed Greyjoy brother, go for it.
Yeah, I don't care. I really don't. Just
Somebody
get
do
him
something.
out. Yes.
Fuck it, Illyrio Mopatis, get your ass up there.
Anyone.
Tom Ace.
Tom Ace from Ace Ventura.
Maybe the farmer that had his boys killed and burned.
Tom.
Ooh.
Maybe he
Tom of
revolts.
House
Or maybe
Ace.
Edmure Tully.
Oh yeah, I would even like him at that point.
Oh,
I was
Oh,
glad that's
yeah.
specific for Abby.
Because she
Yeah.
No.
for the kids at home,
we
she
all
hates
know
that guy.
Robin Aaron comes in with the save. He's grown some
Oh,
balls and
that would be perfect. I was listening
Actually,
to
would make a lot of- Robin Arrow would be a good call. He needs some screen time.
need some wins.
Needs some redemption.
I was
Abby, go
listening
for it, sorry.
to the second book today, and Edmure has a line, and it's not necessarily how the show follows, but he says something, and it's totally right. And I just roll my eyes. I'm
You're like the character was done well in the show.
yeah, I'm like, oh god, like
Tobias
this guy.
Menzies? Is that
Yeah, I believe,
It's,
I believe so. Tobias Menzies.
Tobias, yeah.
all right. So, Luke, go ahead with your note on.
I didn't really have anything specific here other than like fuck. Like Rickon, this is the way we're seeing him again. Like and oh, there's a direwolf head. Like fuck. Like,
Oh, that yes.
Yeah,
How
no
many are
Shaggy.
left?
well,
Great.
We have
count 'em up.
Ghost.
There you go. There's one.
Ghost is left. Lady's gone.
Lady Be Gone.
Summer.
Summer with Bran is still there.
Yeah. Nymeria
It's
is alive as much as we
around
know.
somewhere, yeah.
MIA, but as far as we know,
Great
alive.
Wind is gone.
Yep.
And now Shaggy
Hmm.
Dog.
Shaggy Dog.
Yep. Three
Yeah,
dead,
so
three
that's all
alive.
6.
My
yeah.
my big problem with that is, Ramsay's like, well, how do I know that's Rickon Stark? And he just throws the wolf's head. And to me, like, I don't know if you have a screenshot of that, the wolf head.
Should be.
It just looked like a regular wolf head.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
it
kind of
didn't-
small.
It didn't like blow me away of like, oh yeah, that's heads and shoulders a dire
Knees and
wolf
toes, a dire
head,
wolf.
right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't blow me away. That's my only thought. Like, sure, maybe like, oh, that's clearly a dire wolf head. The Stark children have dire wolves. Is that like a big known thing too by some of these other?
Yeah, it was known that they
schmucks.
all had dire wolves and
I think whenever Rob was declared king in the north and
You're gonna know.
Greywind was there.
You know a Stark is there when there's a dire wolf that's by them,
Well, no, I think
right? Is that what
oh,
they're
you mean
trying
like
to say?
how is this like hey, here's my
Proof.
business card being a dire wolf.
Like, here's my proof that that's Rickon Stark is because here's a wolf head.
Yeah. That's a pretty fair because
I
Ramsay's
just don't
never
like the
met
logic.
Rickon Stark. Like it's like here's his fingerprint.
And Ramsay's one of those
identification.
guys that's just oblivious to the fact that, like, oh, Starks have wolves that follow them. Like, that was just a thing that just happened recently. It's not like it's been like a thing their whole life. It just,
I
did,
agree.
did a big like newsletter go out to
And-
all these families
And again, like when the show first came out, Abby, you're also muted if you're trying to talk or if you're shouting at other people. I like it. There was a lot of questions when this came out. Like, is it really Shaggy Dog? And I think it's from what you're saying. I think it's completely valid. It's
Yeah.
because
And
it's
that
not
is.
that big. I mean, if we look back at, I guess it was the end of last episode when John is laying on the table
Mhm.
and Melisandre walks out. Davos is walking out, and they show a scene where there's Ghost laying on the ground. He's like 6.5 feet long. Like, he's fucking huge. He's like probably the largest we've ever seen him look, and it's a kind of a forced perspective thing. But this, I mean, Dire Poe here, her head isn't much smaller than this.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm gonna say the largest of the dire wolves we've ever seen, it was Grey Wind when he went face to face with Jaime Lannister, and that was back in season 2, late season 2.
Actually,
early
I will
season 3.
say the first episode though, we see the dead mother, right? I think that was the biggest one that we've ever seen.
I'd have to go back and look. If you look back at
okay,
the ghost with John's dead body, it was like enormous.
Right. That's what I picture, like a dire wolf is a giant head that would, be obviously different looking than just a regular your run of the mill wolf.
No, that's completely fair with all that. So, I'm gonna go with my note here really quick. You didn't swear fealty to my father. Your father was a cunt. But just your father was a cunt. He bent the knee to Robb Stark. He, did whatever he thought he would. But he's making great points about they're the closest to the wall. They're like, I don't give a shit about your father. I don't give a shit about any of this. My father, bent his knee to Robb Stark and everything like that. And your father bent the knee as well. And blah, blah, blah. There's wildlings literally less than 100 miles or about 100 miles from my doorstep, ready to come and fuck me over. So I don't care. He's like, well, okay. And I'm not going to kiss your ring. It's more customary to kneel. I'm not going to do that either. I have a gift for you. I'm not going to lie. Even though Umber, he sold out Rickon, he got a cool dude. He's like, fuck you. I don't give a shit.
I'm not going to do that either.
I'm not playing into your game.
You know what? Tax bills. I don't like paying bills. I don't think I'm going to do that either.
Yeah. But I got your one key that's left to the fucking north right here. Here you go.
I got your key right here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those. He's a dick, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of cool. I'm gonna give him credit on that. So, anything else on the Winterfell scene?
The game changer.
Osha did a pretty good job. I mean, it's been like 3 seasons. She stayed alive and out of anybody's clutches for.
Well, they've been at the Umbers.
How long have they been at the Umbers?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I assumed that they had just been captured.
We don't know.
That was the whole thing. Is we're gonna go chill with the Umbers.
Well, yeah, they said they were going up that direction. Yeah, but we don't know. Yeah, exactly when that handoff happened. So.
Right.
Yeah, if he just went rogue.
So
at
they
one
were all
point.
friendly until it was time not to be friendly. Be nice until it's time not to be nice.
Abby, do you remember any other Umbers from the show?
Great John Umber.
Yeah, you remember him? All that?
Yeah, he's the one that he got his head chopped off by.
Nope,
that's
Karstark.
That's the other guy's dad, the one at the table.
Yeah.
Great John.
Oh, was he the one?
He's your meat's bloody tough.
Bloody tough.
Okay.
So just giving you a frame of reference.
Gotcha.
I always get those two confused too, Ab, and so just in fairness.
Okay.
So, all right, I'm filling up the glass for our final scene.
Final scene again?
Apparently, we got one every episode.
Every episode, and
Abby,
for
by
the
way,
chat.
what the fuck you drinking?
I have a hard cider that I'm drinking tonight.
Nice.
We're gonna lose our Duplin sponsorship if you don't get back on the Black River Red.
I know.
I did just put out the recommendation though for a Duplin. I forgot the Black River part, but Duplin Red to Mackenzie there in the chat.
Oh yeah,
her Christmas wine.
Man, if you live anywhere near North Carolina, South Carolina, you have got to get some Duplin wine. They've got their Christmas stuff out too. It's so good.
Nice. So we're at the wall at Castle Black. We got John, Ed, Torment, Davos, Thorn, Yarwick, Bowen, Shoehorn, Marsh, North Night's Watchman, Free Folk, Mel, and fucking Ollie. John confronts the conspirators to leave them swinging in the wind, and some watches are ended. Go ahead, Glenn.
John dead redemption.
Oh yeah.
So obviously John was dead at one point. He's alive, and this is his redemption for those fuckers that kill them in the first place. But I guess these are the top 4. I thought there was like
There
more.
were 6.
There were 6
There
of
were
them. Yeah.
6
So
original
It was a note I
stabbings.
made last episode too in our chat because somebody brought that up, and I had said, "Is it possible that one of the 6 was actually the crossbowman that one took out?" I'm gonna use that as canon to just justify at
We're
least
still missing one.
we're still missing one, but I'm saying
He's in
one of them was the
Molestown.
crossbowman.
He's fine. He's in Molestown.
He burnt the fuck. He
all
gone.
right, yeah, whatever though. But it just, I guess these are the top 4 that, we'll just kill them, and I guess the other 2 are just nameless, faceless victims that it doesn't really matter. You don't really need to know. It doesn't really add anything. So
Yeah. Or they're the ones that are kind of left behind to, use as examples of, you pissed me off, I'm gonna beat this guy. That's what could happen to you if you cross me. I don't know. Just again, trying to come up with some justification, but yeah, that
Right.
does make sense. So I'll go with mine. First of all, from Thorne's perspective, again, he's not wrong. He's been trained to know the wildlings are, the evil bad guys. And know that it's all he saw was the downside of the wildlings, and you don't know any better, and that's all you can go for. So from his perspective, he's not wrong. From the general perspective, yes, he's incorrect. But from his perspective, I see where he's like, I did nothing wrong. I would probably do it again. I can give him respect for that. He holds true to his values that he has in place. They might not be correct, but he at least holds true to them. So I'll give him respect on that issue. But they really did do up the Ollie makeup to make it that much more satisfying because everybody wanted to watch that little bitch do the air dance. They kind of overdid. Like there's a couple shots where they just lingered on Ollie, after the hanging. And I'm not saying I'm upset about it. They just made sure, yeah, he's fucking dead. Are you happy? There you go. We killed him for you. Luke.
That goes right to my note. The only thing I have here is shut up, Ollie.
Yeah.
He didn't say
He doesn't
anything.
say anything.
Just shut the fuck up. I just good riddance.
Goddamn Wesley Crusher of Game of
good
Thrones.
riddance to Bad
Wesley
Rush.
Crusher.
Abby.
Oh, I mean, newsflash, I guess we're going to have some controversial opinions here. Not really. But Ollie didn't really bother me. Like, I getting the feeling that everybody wants him dead. He's the worst. I always saw Ollie as a kid who had his whole life ripped away by these people, and where Thorne, I fault him for his ignorance. Like, he refuses to see it any other way. Even when people are telling him, like, this could be a good thing or whatever, he's just so ignorant to the fact. And with that, his refusal to switch his sides, like, that's an active choice for him. Whereas Ollie, I feel like, had Thorne's influence not been there, had there not been another sounding board that felt so strongly, that Ollie would have been swayed by John. He
See,
wouldn't have.
And honestly, Ab, I'm gonna disagree with you a bit here. I think he would have accepted had he not had the easy quote unquote way out of following Thorne. No, he wouldn't have turned on John as he did, but
Yeah.
he still would have He would have always harbored resentment.
Well, I think you were going to harbor resentment for anybody who kills
your
your
fucking
family. Right. Like, that's just not going to go away. But I think he would have, in the end, hopefully, if he makes it past this war or whatever, been like, this, even though it sucks, this was the right choice. I think he could have gotten there. But Thorne I think Thorne is the reason why Ollie was as terrible as he was, because it gave him backup.
Fair, and that's I'll give you that one. That is fair. If he didn't have the backup, you're right. But he would have grown up to be another Thorne of the wildlings are completely evil, and I'm just saying he, in that sense,
So
without having
the kind of the beauty of and the fault of what the show has done is they've consolidated all these characters to be just Ollie and Thorne, really, because Yarwick doing this was a bit of a surprise. But it is all kind of couched in a certain, racism and
that's what I would say Ollie would grow up to be a racist, not necessarily a
But he's literally
turning
going to
like
be growing up into a position that he can actively use that in a negative
Yeah.
way. It's not just
really just
Especially
because
being,
he's
because he's going to
in
be
the
a part of the
Night's
Night's
Watch.
Watch.
Squire,
Okay.
And they
Alright.
fundamentally think the purpose of the Night's Watch is to be racists. I mean, is
Okay.
that's the problem that
Yeah.
Jon Snow is trying to eradicate here, and that's
okay.
the fundamental problem. Yes, Ollie feels very, very valid in his beliefs that they killed my parents, so literally all of them should be either dead or kept out. That's kind
Yeah.
of problematic.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
where it's difficult, and the fact that he never even comes around. I don't know. There's a lot.
I feel like he
to
doesn't
it.
have a lot of time.
I feel like he had way
Specifically
too much.
Ollie. Feel like specifically Ollie in the show that I am seeing is like here a year ago, all these people killed this stuff. We're not going to see us all band together and defeat what's really coming or whatever. At which point, maybe Ollie doesn't feel like that. But you're right. I mean, it's not a good position for him to hold out if he's constantly going to be against
And I
a
guess
race.
my other point with, like I said, Ali was in the position that John was as the Lord Commander's squire, slash Luke. What's the word I'm looking for? What he actually was,
Xenophil-
Stewart.
Wait,
Stewart.
oh,
Oh,
sorry.
Stuart.
I was-
Sorry, no, yeah, his steward. You know,
Steward.
where he would be groomed to
Steward.
possibly be a leader of the Night's Watch.
Gotcha.
You know, and having these, xenophobic, racist, thoughts or mentality would not be good just in the long run. So, but again, it's one of those, yeah, it's a consolidation. Ali is a complete show character, so that's why a lot of book readers are like, what the fuck is this guy?
Gotcha.
But still, the next probably one or two pictures, Luke, are one of my favorites.
And I will say I'm not like
K18. There we go.
I'm not like hard on like oh Ollie, you guys are wrong. But just from my perspective, never reading the books or whatever, it
Yeah.
wasn't as big of a I wasn't an Ollie hater, I guess is what I'll
And that's
call it.
fair.
Like
No,
it
and that's
wasn't in
completely
that
fair.
camp.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
He's
Uh,
dead. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
He's
one
alive.
line.
Like
One line I do like that they had. I believe it was Bowen Marsh. You shouldn't be alive. It's not right. And he's just like, I have nothing else to say. We fucking killed you. You shouldn't be alive.
We fucking
So,
killed
I have-
you. What are you doing? You're alive.
You're back. That's not cool.
I did like how Yarwick was like, tell my mother or whoever.
Write to my mother in White Harbor. Tell her I
Yeah, in
died
White Harbor
fighting
that I-
north of the wall.
Exactly.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said book readers are like, who the fuck is this guy? I was under the assumption that the book wasn't written up to this point at this point.
Certain parts. It's
Okay.
The thing about the book to show is there's a lot of back and forth. Like certain portions of the story are beyond, even in the same storylines. It's like, hey,
But they're
we're past something that we're for the actual timeline, what we've seen
Okay.
in the books. But then they also skipped things previously that sometimes they add in little nods
later.
to that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Exactly.
it's a little complicated. Is
Yeah.
kind of the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like an abacus or something.
Exactly.
Where some things are here, other things are there.
And you have a couple different rows of beads.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
like and shit.
So, all right. And then the final part of this whole scene,
Abby
John-
called it. Abby called it.
Abby called it.
I'm out.
His watch is ended.
His watch is Oh
Yeah.
man.
I'm so
It's
I was
in
so
the
happy
vow.
when you called that technicality of it. I was like, she gets it. She does get
Yeah.
it.
Like I just like thinking about his vows or whatever. Like he's done it. He's out. You know what the
Been there,
most
done that.
disappointing thing for me in all of this is that Ygritte is dead. Like literally when he walked away, I was like, but
She was
she's
a hell of a
dead.
bird.
God. Like it's just so sad. So sad.
Yeah. And but now, yeah, yes. But yeah, I mean, I love that line. I'm glad he, said it, and I loved Ed's reaction. He's like, "Ed, you have the wall." What? You know?
Oh,
And that's the other thing. He gave Ed the wall,
yep.
which he did the same thing at the battle.
Mhm.
2 seasons ago at the Battle of the Wall. He was like, "Ed, you have the wall," and it's like, what the fuck? But Ed is the most qualified as of right now, and Lord help us if Ed,
Is this?
fucking Dolores Ed, is the most qualified.
I'm not sure if this is in this scene or like the very first scene where he walks out and everybody sees him kind of for the first time. Is that this
Yes.
one, or is that
Mm,
earlier?
That was the very first
earlier
scene of the
with
Oh,
with the
okay.
dick jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
with-
Tormund. Tormund with all the jokes.
I've seen your
He's funny.
pecker.
Yeah.
A guy wouldn't have
Yeah.
one that small.
I liked in that scene though, just specifically here we're talking about Ed. Like he kind of does his little rounds. We get the Tormund hug. Everybody gets the acknowledgement he's there. But as soon as kind of those little formalities, because they're closer and have to happen, he makes that line to Ed. And I love that about John. Like he knows not
Yeah.
that Tormund's not his real friend, but Ed has been there with him this whole
Ed's a
time.
brother. Tormund's not. That's
Yes.
the other thing.
And there are other brothers there too, but he has that loyalty to that's my dude. So
And,
I
and I
liked
would think that Davos, on their way walking out of the room, would have said, "Oh yeah, me, Ed, the ginger,
right.
and whoever else was in the room, kind of try to help you out there. Tormund's son, But so yeah, it's a great scene. It was actually very well done. I hope it's done similar in the books at this, because I do think they did this correct for what I would like to see. So, and that wraps up our episode recap. So we're gonna go to title accuracy, Oathbreaker. I don't know how I feel about this one.
Who's the Oathbreaker?
Who's the Oathbreaker?
No, well, it
The
says
men at the end.
on fandom. I was reading. I was
That's
just
what-
reading. Give me a second.
Glennie
I
will
was
have
just reading this.
the official answer.
Let me just say what they said. God damn, where is it? Where's it at? Okay, the title of the episode may refer to Jon Snow leaving the Night's Watch, Small John Umber breaking his oath to loyalty to the Starks, or Daenerys Targaryen having broken her oath to join the Dosh Khaleen after Drogo's death.
Was that in the prenup? Like that's like what?
It probably was explained to her at the horse eating ceremony.
Well, I feel like maybe they're disregarding the prenup, because she would have put in there verbiage about, well, I'm also like the queen of the Seven Kingdoms, and
at that point she was not. It was her brother, so that wouldn't have been in the prenup.
but there's a certain.
It seemed like they just kind of assumed that
she
she
needs
would,
Littlefinger on her team for these lawyer stuff.
Yes, she
Right.
does.
they probably just assumed that she would just know that, oh, you come back here after. But I think with her personality and stuff like that, she's more of a, I'm gonna get what's mine. I'm not, gonna be the Dothraki housewife that just is a widow and goes back and does my thing back there. Like,
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think so far this season, weak title. Just it doesn't fit entirely.
I'm surprised
really.
that
You
official
ever-
response didn't leave out that it did leave out the these four guys that got
Who
hanged at the end.
who
Yeah.
wrote this? Who were you
This
looking
is
this up
the
from,
Wikia.
Glenn?
GameOfThrones.fandom.com.
Well, they're
/
wrong.
wiki
John didn't write
/
no fucking
Oathbreaker.
notes.
Hey,
Abby, get at him.
Don't shoot the messenger over here.
No, I'm telling Abby to sick him.
Yeah.
Go after him.
Change
Ab.
it.
Send an angry
Wrong.
as a first time watcher, they'll listen to you.
Yeah. They'll get it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that sarcastically. I was like, I've been watching this, and I have no book reference. You're incorrect, sir. So we're gonna go with the description accuracy. Daenerys meets her future.
Yeah,
I guess,
for her
yeah.
foreseeable future. Sure.
All right.
Doesn't
All right.
doesn't everyone meet their future?
Yeah, you're right, Glenn. That's a little bit weak
You
there.
know?
Tomorrow, I'll love you. tomorrow. Yeah, fair.
Here, you're gonna
Bran
say
meets
here
the
for the
Bran
future.
meets the past.
True.
Doesn't everyone meet their past?
Everyone
this
has
wasn't
already
his
met their
past.
Isn't
past.
everyone Scrooge?
I
And
mean,
they
technically, this is not Bran's past. It's
Ebenezer.
his father's past.
Ebenezer
It does say
It meets
past,
the
not
past.
his.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
it does
right.
say the, not his.
Ebenezer Stark.
Ebenezer Squeezer, topsy turvy man, walks upon his elbows.
Tommen confronts the High Sparrow
He does.
and fails.
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone meet the High Sparrow?
At some point. At some point.
I hope I don't.
Arya trains to be no one.
Sure.
Doesn't everyone train to be no one though?
Varys finds an answer. Yeah,
Yeah, he gets some
Yes.
information.
and Glenn, anything?
Doesn't everyone find an answer?
And Ramsay gets a gift.
Doesn't everyone get a gift?
There you go.
Only the good
It
kids.
is the season of giving, and in this year, I want to give you a cheers.
Cheers. We got one episode before the
Boom.
winter holidays.
You know, Santa and God are the same person, right?
I don't know.
Ricky, Santa, and God are not the same person.
Glenn, you don't own space. NASA does.
All right, least favorite thing, Glenn. Go for it.
I'm just not really turned on by the Tommen and High Sparrow stuff. I guess I don't know why. It just doesn't intrigue me. I've never been a big like King's Landing storyline, anyways. But it's I don't know. It's just kind of lame to me.
Fair. In all reality, I didn't hate anything really in this episode. The only thing that kind of irked me was Danny trying to big dog again in the Dosh Colleen,
Whoa.
saying, "Oh, I'm the queen of it." We know who the fuck you are. It doesn't fucking matter. Maybe try a new tact. Yeah, it's worked for you many times, but maybe try something new. Show a bit of humility. That's all I want. Minor things. Luke?
Sam and Gilly. I don't
I
know.
get it.
I'm just a little tired of it, I guess. It's sweet. It's nice. The show kind of needs it at times. Fine. It's a pretty good episode overall. That's kind of why I picked it. It's to me that was the weakest scene.
Fair. No, completely fair. Abby?
My least favorite thing by design is the little birds being in Qyburn's pocket now.
Okay.
I don't like that for them.
For the birds or Qyburn? Or both?
For the birds. For the
Nice.
birds.
Fair enough. I wouldn't have thought about
It's
that.
for the
but
birds.
That
It just makes me nervous for him. Like, I feel like in Vari's hand, he, like you said, he wouldn't hurt children. This Qyburn Cersei thing, I don't really know what Qyburn would do, but I know Cersei would do anything to
Let's-
get what she wants,
Let's hear
regardless
it for, let's hear
of
it
who
for the
gets hurt.
birds.
yeah, no, that's
So-
completely fair. I can absolutely respect that. So cool. And we'll go backwards. Abby, what's your favorite thing in this episode?
My favorite thing? I guess I'm going to go with I'll go with Bran. I'm going to go with Bran every time they put him on. Specifically when he comes out of the little dream, or I don't really know what we call it, like vision, whatever it
He
was.
logs off weirwood.net.
Yes. So after we log off and we kind of get the explanation, like, till you know everything, just the excitement about learning more what's coming for him. That's my favorite thing.
All right, Luke.
And so it begins. No.
No, and now it ends.
So fucking good. Like it just
Yeah.
all of it. So good. The fight, the choreography, incredible. The lines were fucking well delivered, and I looked for you on the Trident. We weren't there. It's so fucking good. Like it's so Ned Stark.
How did they
So fucking
make
good.
his voice like that?
He's
That's
like, I wanna
just a
know-
skill
well,
of
Abby.
voice actor.
No. That they had Sean Bean do this
10 years or
like-
12 years ago.
like 16
No,
years ago.
so what I really wondered was if like Sean Bean went in and recorded it, and not that they used his voice, but they used like that actor's voice and Sean Bean's voice and kind of married them together to make it sound maybe slightly younger, but still the same. What is the word? Like syntax? I don't really know. Whatever that word is I'm
Yeah, you're
looking
good.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
So-
actually what happened was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they used this is actually footage from Lord of the Rings.
Do go on.
Yeah,
This was a scene from Fellowship of the Ring before Sean Bean's
So
character,
this was
Boromir,
Boromir talking to Arthur Day.
perishes. Boromir, yeah, Boromir is talking to Arthur Day.
I think
There's-
I feel like Boromir would have a solid chance too.
Yeah.
Because we know he died fighting the orcs. Or the Urukai,
Mhm.
actually.
Urukai.
Urukai. Ugluk.
Um,
if you will.
So
Ugly.
my
Does
favorite,
he have a scene?
obviously, I'm just gonna, so we can continue on with this ad, but it's the Tower of Joy. It's pretty much all of these actors being one episode actors, as of right now, but they fucking kill it. They bring these guys in. They bring Arthur Dane and Gerald Hightower in, both great swordsmen. Like I said, they let Ned kill Hightower. Arthur Dane, we get stabbed in the back, takes on 4 motherfuckers and takes down one of them. But yeah, it's just such a well done scene because we've had descriptions of, we had a slight description of it in the book. Abby, you've already read that book. You already read through that part, actually. I don't know if you even realized that, but the moment when Ned is in his dream,
Mhm.
you know,
He's
after
in
being
his fever and he's under Milk of the Poppy.
Yeah.
He thinks
he
back to
talks
this.
about there were 7 taking on 3, and that's the
Okay.
only downside to this scene is there were 6 taking on 2.
That's what I was counting them up. I was like,
yeah.
because I was like, in case they ask, I just want to make sure I know. And it was moving fast. I'm like, I think there's only 2. I think there's only 6, but that should be different.
So,
It should
Benj, I
be.
completely agree. The numbers plus the potential not Dawn and potential and definitely not Ice. Like,
Yeah.
those are
Well,
those are
again,
questions.
I don't think he had. I don't think Ned in the books had ice.
I'm just saying those are questions that are unanswered that people assumed one way or the other.
Exactly. But it's one of those of it's just such a well done scene from unknown actors. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a single person in there. Well, yeah. I don't think there's a single person in there that anybody could say, "Oh, I've seen him in this before," you know. And they kill the scene. It's an important scene. You know, obviously because it's a brand flashback. They're not going to just do a flashback if it's not important. You know,
Mhm.
that's all I have to say on that. But it's just so well done. And it's, yeah, this is what book readers have been waiting for was this. And yeah, the scene afterwards with Bran getting the explanation, it was good. But the Tower of Joy, just cheers to it. Glenn finishes off.
Sure. My favorite thing was the John dead redemption. You see how like John gets back in the saddle after obviously dying. Now he's alive. First order of business as he's still the Lord Commander. You kill me, we're gonna kill you back. So he kills these schmucks that killed him, and then just like the send off, dropping the mic. Ed, you got the wall. My watch has ended. Peace out. Jordan fades back. Swoosh, and that's the game.
Denver Broncos win.
They actually lost.
They lost.
To the
I
Browns.
I was a big fan of Michael Jordan when he played for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I
was a
liked
big
when he
fan
made
of
that
him when he-
comeback for minor league football.
Yeah, because a lot of people know they
'Cause
they
that was
knew
in
the
Space
the
Jam.
minor league.
But his one off with the
Baseball.
Monstars saved the fucking universe.
Yeah,
That's
So-
right.
Yeah, you gotta have him play football.
He played
All
every
right.
major sport in the minor
So
league level
now-
at one point.
Abby, at this point, it was pretty goddamn good at her predictions.
Yep.
I think
Let's
they're
see where
called
she goes with
speculations.
for now. What are your predictions for the upcoming episodes after based off of today's information?
Well, good news for Luke and his least favorite thing. My first one is about Sam and Gilly. So
There you go.
prediction number 1 is about Gilly and more specifically Little Sam. We all know that Gilly is a Craster's daughter and Little Sam is the last of Craster's son. I believe that these two insignificant. I don't want to call her like not smart but she's not as intelligent as Sam
A
or
bit
maybe some of
ignorant.
these big players. Right, because of where she grew up. I believe they're going to be a key, not just like a little part. I think they're going to be a huge part in defeating the White Walkers. Like a very large part. Because I don't know if we'll ever get an answer or we know how many children she had before little Sam or if she didn't or if Sam was her first one. But if he's not, what leads me to assume that some of these White Walkers would be her sons. And we also know that the White Walkers, up until the point of them not getting little Sam, were pretty backed off, right? Like we had this nice little thing going with Craster. They hadn't really attacked anybody beyond or like on our side of the wall. I feel like little Sam is the reason possibly that all of a sudden now they're like trying to take over because they didn't get what's theirs. It all kind of starts right when they don't get what they want or
So-
what they see.
The only thing that I'll throw as a
Mhm.
maybe a monkey wrench in your thought there is the very opening scene where Waymar Royce is
Yes.
killed by
Yes.
a group of White Walkers. So
Yet
that's,
again, they were
I
north
will
of the wall. She
say-
said
Right.
south.
I was just saying that was a clear attack where that's the only qualification I want to make there. Just don't
Yeah.
forget about that scene as well.
And the
So I
fifth
would
of the
say they
first
would
one.
attack people that were like in their area or they've come across, but I don't feel like they have necessarily actively been trying to do battle. We'll say until, and I don't really know if Little Sam has anything to do with it, but I just think they're going to be a huge part of it, or the fact that Little Sam wasn't given to them is going to be a big issue.
Okay.
Number 2. I kind of just focused on that one. I don't really have very many more, guys.
All right.
Well,
How
that
about
one-
how does Ed feel that John is fucking walking off on him? Like, hey, you're in charge. Like, fuck me, I guess. Like,
I think he probably feels. I think he was gonna be like disappointed that his buddy's leaving, but I don't think there's going to be any harbored
animosity.
resentment. No, I think he's gonna be like, well,
Anamorphity.
shoot, like that ended well for me.
I heard it ended Wilford Brimley.
yeah,
There.
Ab.
Abby, hold up.
Yep. All right, Abby, can you hear us?
Lord Commander.
Abby, can you hear us?
Yes,
Sorry, say that again. The internet was glitch-tastic.
glitchy.
Glitcheroo.
So I was just saying that I think it ends well for Ed here. He ends up being Lord Commander, so that's good. I also think that for what John's trying to do, Ed is going to follow straight in those footsteps, making connections with the wildlings they have there to defeat this, Dark Knight that's coming or whatever. I think it's a very good. I think it's a very good
What's the
choice
difference between
for
you
the realm,
and a-
anyways, because he's going to have Ed acting almost as like his voice at the wall and keeping those guys in line while he can go around and hopefully collect more believers against this attack.
Fair. All right. Vas Dothrak. Thoughts on Danny?
She gets saved at some point. I mean, she has a fucking dragon. I'm sorry, I'm never worried about Danny because she has a fucking dragon. And I get that he's hungry or tired right now, but before they can be horrible to her and, make her die, her dragon, if nothing else, will come save her. So,
Fair.
I
All right, Nutcracker.
oh, Rickon. Oh god. I really hope he makes it. Unless somebody comes for him soon, I think he's going the way of Theon. I think Osha and him will be getting tortured.
Fair enough.
What
right.
about Pycelle's farts? Do you think that's going to be a thing moving
A
forward?
player in the Game of
Yeah.
Thrones?
I think they will hopefully from here on out be more silent, more deadly. We'll see.
Okay. All right. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
We're
All right. So that wraps up our show here. We're going to run through all of our stuff since it's only the four of us. We'll get them all knocked out. So, Glenn, what is your house name?
I'm Glenn of House Dog.
Your house words?
You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
Your sigil?
So it's Mackenzie with a Wayne Gretzky number 99 jersey on.
Your sword?
Sword name is Johnny Utah.
Your region?
The Vale.
Who do you pray to?
Dem New Gods.
What's your horse's name?
Horus or horse meat.
Your animal?
Rich the Flying Squirrel.
Your ancestral home?
Castle at Beast Mountain.
What's your hometown newspaper?
We subscribe to the Moon Door Bee.
Your famous house ancestor?
His name is Duffy.
Your minstrel or fool?
Barube.
Your house bannerman?
So I got House Charlie of Shell Hughes. Also Tom of House Ace is a new bannerman.
Oh.
All right.
Hey, you're growing.
Your personal
Yeah.
Twitter?
At Popsicle Stand.
And your final thought?
Pretty, one of your just run-of-the-mill episode 3 of a season Game of Thrones episode.
And if you didn't notice, he actually has a Rich the Flying Squirrel hat on today.
I did not notice that.
Rich the
Nice.
Flying Squirrel.
So there you go. The Richmond Flying Squirrels.
Richmond Flying Squirrels. Fuck yeah. So I am Ben, aka Sly of House McLean. My house words are it's dangerous to drink alone. My house sigil is 3 golden triangles on a field of red and black. My house sword is Konami because they make blades of steel. We're from the Reach. My house religion is I pray to the gods of tits and wine. My horse's name is Peach because we ride her all night long. My animal is Aries the Phoenix. My ancestral home is Tower of Hera. Watch out for Moldorn. My hometown newspaper is the Daily Sun. My famous house ancestor is my great uncle John, the savior of winter celebrations. My house minstrel or fool is Nickeldum, the singing mime. And my house bannermen are the posseers, the ones you want to ride with. Personal Twitter is at Sly McLean. My final thought is, and I'm going to steal this from Abby, season 6 is really fucking good. First 3 episodes have killed it. Literally, I had to struggle to come up with something to find for a negative on this episode, and it's just really fucking good. So, Luke, run through your stuff while I make water.
I am Lucan of House Blackmead. House words, ours is the drink. House sigil is an obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background. I carry around a Valyrian steel axe called Sweet Sting. We are recently relocated to the Stormlands, spent some time in the Riverlands, where we supplied the Crossroads Inn with all of their mead needs. That place is fucking dead these days, though. But we do still cherish the old gods, and I ride around a horse called Cherry. I've got an animal whose name is Paris the Parrot. We hail from Black Cask Keep. We read the newspaper called The Drowned Word. My famous house ancestor is Ashmere Rivers. You'll learn more about him later. And our house minstrel or fool is called Dingle. Our house bannerman, our house Karen of Night Song. My personal Twitter is at Luca Ferocious. You can find me on our show Twitter as well, at No and Drink. And my final thought, the Tower of Joy scene along with all of Hardhome, I think are my favorite points in the show overall. Like a top 2. I'm just a big fan of those. Good stuff.
Cool.
As Glenn would say, cool.
Absolutely agreed. So, Abby, finish us off. What's your house name?
I am Abby or Gertie of House Condescension.
What are your house words?
We don't quit.
What is your sigil?
It is a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black up-pointed chevron.
What's your sword?
Gunther,
Your region?
I think we have to move. We can't be north of the wall anymore, so we're with the other wildlings in
The gift,
but yeah, is that where they were given?
Them
South of the wall?
gifts.
pretty much.
Okay, yeah, that's where we went then.
You're in the gift.
We'll make that change.
The
All right, who do you
GIF.
pray to?
The old gods.
The GIF.
We live with the gift.
The GIF.
What's your house
Good
name?
Queen Alice.
Horse name, sorry. Horse name.
Odin.
Your animal.
That's JJ the honey badger. She don't give a shit.
What's JJ stand for?
Judge Judy.
Fuck yeah, it does. Ancestral home.
That would be Gertie's Gallows.
Your hometown newspaper.
We read the Nightly Raven.
Your famous house ancestor.
Casey Jones.
Damn straight. And have you come up with minstrel or fool?
We don't have a minstrel or fool. We don't joke around. We kick ass.
Your house bannerman.
That would be House Wahlberg of Wahlburgers
And your Twitter.
at Go Home Gertie.
And your final thought.
Well, you stole my final thought. No, I'm just kidding. It really is. I didn't think season 5 was bad. I enjoyed everything that I watched, but watching it has been told to me, and I can kind of see it now. I guess like season 5 is a little weak, or I guess there was more disappointment in it. But season 6, man, like I'm trying to take notes, and it's taking me 2 hours to get through an episode because everything is so
And that's
fast.
how you know it's good, because you're taking more
Yeah.
notes.
Well, it's
the
like
density,
Yep.
proximity,
Yeah.
baby.
like it is so, I don't know. I have a lot of questions going on.
Yeah.
So that's
Compelling.
good.
Shout out to
Compelling.
the showrunners of, because me and Luke and Glenn discussed this earlier. It's all in order now. Like there's no jumping back, or how, at least for the first 3 episodes of season 6, it's all been very one section, next section, next section.
The show's
next
been
section.
Oh.
linear itself.
Got you. Okay.
Very
Mhm.
linear, except for like, okay, Castle Black, yeah, we had first scene and then last scene, but it's
Yeah.
not, like first scene and sixth scene or stuff like that.
Right.
So it makes my life way fucking easier too for trying to recap this thing. So shout out to them so thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So
They knew we were
That
gonna do
right.
this, so
what's that?
they knew we were gonna do this. They were just like, you know
Like-
what? At this point, these guys need a break.
Exactly.
Let's do it for the
He's lazy as
podcast
shit.
that drinks
He's
and
done
knows
enough.
things.
This one's for the podcast that drinks and knows things. That's how Dan West talks.
Or they're like, it's for the podcast that drinks and knows things. Let's do it for them. Come on. What are you doing?
And you too can be like DB, DB Weiss, and go for it, Ben.
DB Benny Hoff and David Weiss. All right. So become a patron to get access to our epilogue episodes and t-shirts and mugs and glassware and seasonal merchandise, clubs, and all of our nice fun stuff that we offer. Learn more at patreon.com/stayimaginary. For all the ways you can help keep our beer bank full, check out the podcastthat.com/support us. A huge special thanks to our live chat tonight. Thank you guys, our fact checkers. We really do appreciate it. And if
It
you
makes
listen
us
to
sound
this,
way smarter.
definitely. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, check us out. Keep us up on Twitter, because then you can find out when we're coming live on YouTube, and you can jump in the chat, meet some great people like Brandon Builder, Mackenzie L. Burns, Felicia, and other people I can't see up higher in the chat at this point. But
And
thank
everybody
you all.
else he's forgotten. I'm just
Everybody else
kidding.
I've been forgetting. But barring any scheduling mishaps, join us next week for season 6, episode 4, Book of the Stranger, with special guest Lucifer Means Lightbringer.
Big one.
Make sure you follow us on
Woo.
Twitter at Know and Drink. Send us to Digital Raven at knowandrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave us comments on iTunes and YouTube. And until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
As always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, winter is coming in. So am I.
And as always, stay imaginary.
Amen.
All right. Awesome. So, chat, thank you very much. I'm just throwing it out there because I'm still kind of good to go if we wanted to. We haven't done an epilogue in a minute.
I could be down. I'm not prepared at all, but you know, that's,
Neither am I. We have
Prepared.
no clue.
We're
There's
never prepared.
we're
Doesn't
never,
work
to be
out well.
fair, we're never prepared
We
for
don't have to be
epilogues.
prepared for an epilogue.
I have to pee a
Yeah.
lot.
That's fair.
And then I think I'll be as
in fairness,
prepared as
typically we
usual.
have a guest that takes us a bit longer, but we're right at about 2 hours, 2:10,
2:12.
so
2:12
hey,
right now.
that's better than we've been in a while. So
This was good. I think it's because Abby wasn't there for like the first 3
That's
scenes.
true.
Thank
I
God.
mean,
that's
talk
true.
about
But
dragging the team down.
chat, I'm gonna leave it up to you. If you guys are still down to hang out and do some stuff, throw out a couple ideas for us. We may come up with something. We're gonna take
We'll try to
making
do a
water
book to
break.
show, but it's so different. It's tough to only do that because it's literally like, oh, we know nothing about this in the books, so here's what happened
I
to
mean,
show.
we
As we
could try
just
to do
talked about.
theory building. We could try to do where we think.
So yeah,
based off
throw
of
some
this.
ideas out there. We're gonna kick Abby out. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
so
So
Abby,
say bye to Abby.
Abby,
Either
be
way,
polite
yeah,
and say
I gotta-
goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Alright,
making
we'll be
it. I was
back
worried
in
that you
a
would.
few minutes to.
Yeah, thanks for being late.
Thanks for
Yeah,
being
you're
late,
welcome.
and making your presence extra known is really big dog of you. Cool.
Sorry.
Oh man, talk about
Ah.
big leaguing the whole show. Really
Yep, yeah.
inconsiderate.
Thank you, Phil
Alright.
H. Exactly. Fuck off, Abby.
All right. Bye, Felicia Abby.
Bye. You're welcome for more viewers once I get on.
Oh man, she's too good. She's too good for us. She's got to go.
Yeah, right.
She's gotta go.
Never. Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right, so we are going to take a quick break. And so send in thoughts about what we can chat about. There's a lot of things.
I'm hearing theories, which is what we can try to base it off of. Kind of maybe thought processes of where we thought it might go from here. And
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
everything.
What we were
Yeah,
thinking when
it'll
we're
be,
watching.
10, 15 minutes, but
All right.
give me
so-
enough to actually
Where do
finish
we
up
go
the
from
6
here?
pack.
I'm
So
feeling this.
All right.
that's my goal.
Oh, you didn't make your fart song earlier
Fart song.
for Pycelle.
Pycelle.
You're come on, sing
Uh.
it. I farted and I'm so sorry.
I farted. And I'm so sorry. I cannot sleep. I cannot dream tonight. The unsuspecting victim.
Just
Was Kai
a boy
Bird
reference
Ed.
I will always love. Thank you.
I shit too.
I shit too. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Please hang out in the chat, and we will talk to you again real soon.
So like 10 seconds.
No, like we're live right now. I'm gonna play the music.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
And welcome back to our podcast, listeners. This is the podcast that drinks and knows things. I am Ben, Sly of House McLean, joined by Glenn of House Dog
Woof.
and Luke of House Black.
Cheers, as always.
And this is our epilogue episode. We haven't had one in a minute.
A hot minute.
Well,
And a hot minute.
I think it's been more than a minute.
This week we got done a little quick. Let's have some fun tonight. So
That's
we
what
throw
she
it out to our
said.
YouTube
Got done a
chat.
little quick tonight. Yeah.
Now let's have some fun. I got mine.
Let me ask chat how to get that happen. How to make that happen. So we did get a great suggestion from the chat, and I'll throw it out to you guys.
Thanks, chat.
This is from Mackenzie L. Burns. Since we don't have anything to compare to the books to, what is the mission that you thought John was going to go on next episode as he leaves at the end of this one? So if you're out of order on our Patreon, this is the one where John is woken up. He's come back to life. He's hung the conspirators.
I'm out.
And
Hanged.
he turned his cloak over to
Hanged.
Ed. Hung is a completely valid.
Hanged.
Yes.
He hanged them. That is
I'm not going to get
the
into it, but
correct
look
terminology
up,
on it.
Look up Conan O'Brien hung. I will. Yeah, I'm leaving it there.
That's just a man
Semantics
and a horse
aside,
being...
please continue.
Semantics aside, the co-conspirators were left swinging in the wind, and he ended his watch and walked out. So the question
Hangman.
leaving, where was John going when he walked out of Castle Black? Guys, Glenn, Luke, anybody?
Where should he go?
Where is he?
Where is he
No,
going?
no Dave Matthews Band references. No, I felt it. Damn it. I should have let you start. Please continue, but don't continue that way.
So what's his mission? Where is he going? I think he's gonna go away from Castle Black.
Where do we go from here? He's feeling
Is he
this.
going north or south?
South.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because he doesn't have like a pink letter situation going on. It's a little open ended. It's kind of like, well, I'm just not going to be here. I guess going to Winterfell would be like the first thing I would think of at the time of, but like, you and what army is the big question, and he's not gonna like. I guess the wildlings would be like the number one thing that you would think of. Like, again, we know where this goes,
Right.
But
We're gonna
putting in a
band
mentality of
together.
like, after this episode, what were you guessing? The only thing that I can really think of is, hey, taking Tormund and the wildlings, the 5,000 or whatever escaped Hardhome, and heading south to Winterfell, which was kind of going on the what was promised to him by Stannis methodology, which doesn't really hold any water, but it's not nothing. He's done with the wall. That didn't work. Like, he tried.
Right. It's like quitting your job, but it's like you can't almost stay in the same town because that's the only job in the town. So you almost have to move.
I guess I'm up in my family. We're getting out of town in the RV.
Getting out of Dodge, and then we're gonna go somewhere else, find a new job, find a new home.
In fairness, as Bronn says, the best thing to do after a fight is a woman in your bed.
We need to
I
redhead.
figured he's going to Molestown. He's going to hit Molestown. Then he'll find a redhead, such as Sansa, coming north. Not in that aspect, but I did kind of think No, I'm not a Johnson guy. I did honestly think he was gonna, like, thinking back of this from this episode where the show writers were gonna take it. I thought he was going to head south, maybe take the wildlings, take Tormund, head back into the Gift, and intercept
Just settle
Sansa.
down. Just settle down and hang out in the Gift for
Settle down.
eternity.
I mean, I'm not saying doing that, but I'm saying like
In
at the
perpetuity.
crossroads. They'd meet up at the crossroads, not in
At
the
the
Bone
crossroads.
Thugs
crossroads.
But they would run into her. I knew he would get in contact with Sansa, and from there probably develop the army to take on Ramsay. but I thought, yeah, he's not sticking around Castle Black. I honestly thought he's walking out. Bitches, I'm out. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
Another,
Bye, Felicia.
So- something I
Bye,
was thinking.
Felicia. I'm gone. So I mean, it's one of those. It's an interesting question of where he was going with it, but I don't know. I think better question is, what the fuck's Ghost gonna do? That's all. That's what he's known. The home. I don't know. Kind of
Well,
rambling on
I
that
think
one.
I think at this point, John was in a power position, being the Lord Commander. I think at this point, he doesn't want to be Lord Commander anymore. Handed that off, and he's just going to get away from, being the decision maker, and like if that means like being an irrelevant character, obviously, with the storyline, like he's just not going to be that. But like if it were me, like, okay, I don't want to be the Lord Commander anymore. I don't want to be, calling all the shots anymore. I just want to kind of disappear and not have all this pressure and stress. I just want to, kind of be irrelevant for a while.
Can I just
Sure.
can I just take a fucking break? Like,
Yeah.
I tried. I failed.
Well, go out and fail again. And that kind of goes into another question that I kind of just manufactured on the same lines of this episode. Did you expect the outcome for Rickon?
I thought he was going to survive. I really did. And in the books, I think he's going to.
Deus Ex Machina, some reason kind of thing.
I feel like everything that the show did with Rickon is a consolidation for the show. I feel like I think we're going to get more of his story. I don't know if it's going to be a Rickon perspective chapter. I don't know if it's going to be an OSHA perspective chapter. I think we're going to get something from what they're doing. And I think they're actually at Skagos.
Personally, I don't think either until we get Davos showing up.
And that's
I think
that's a good point. It could just be Davos's perspective on it. I like that. That's makes more sense for established POVs.
And I agree with you with the consolidation. I think like these were two people on the SS abandoned plot lines that they just kind of wanted to.
Andrew's been running around for fucking 3 years.
Right. They go to some random Christmas party or something. Hey, what happened to OSHA and Rickon? You never went back to that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's going on?
Oh, motherfucker. God damn it. Not another one of these assholes talking about this shit.
I do agree with you, Luke. I thought when, Rickon shows up and OSHA shows up, I'm like, okay, OSHA's probably going to die. Like, I would just like, OSHA probably will die. Ooh, see, now that's the one I want to fucking try. But anyway.
OSHA?
Yeah, that too.
Wildling Tongs. Natasha.
Fuck yeah. But I kind of figured, there's no way Baltimore is surviving, but Rickon, they'll kind of build off. Like, I honestly thought the show might take Winterfell in the direction of letting Winterfell be in Rickon's control with John kind of leading him. After watching this scene, I was wrong. He doesn't know how to zigzag, but
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to talk about that scene again.
I know.
Ugh.
We got 6 episodes? That was episode 9. Battle of Bastards is 9.
Oh shit! Yeah, I was thinking that was season 7 for some reason.
Damn it!
Nope.
Yeah, that's a lot closer.
Monkey.
We got 6 weeks. 6 weeks and no zigzag.
Man, I guess I said talk about that again. We've never talked about that. Okay.
Well, we've talked about it.
It's been mentioned for the record.
Right. So now, new drinking game. Who can get zigzag worked into an episode before?
I feel like we did a long time ago. We did the 2 zigzags. Maybe that's all
Colt
we
45 and 2 zigzags.
We had a Colt 45 episode. If go back and check that out.
You could put it in.
It was our 45th episode.
This character is trying to zig, while this character is trying to zag, and it just doesn't work out.
Maybe that's all we need.
So, all right, Luke, you're doing better with me than I am in the chat. Anybody bringing up anything?
No, it's embarrassing what they're talking about. I don't really want to. No.
Damn it! Chat.
I mean, no. As always, they're they're classy as fuck.
Why is there no chat?
There's no chat. Why are the police outside? The police should be inside, taking the prints from fingers.
You fucking burnouts.
I don't know. Like,
Sorry.
I like focusing on the John storyline here because that's what we're left with, and as always, we can branch off into many huge distractions and rabbit holes. But the more focused we are, probably the better. And so the characters in play right now are Rickon, Osha, I guess Davos in book, clearly not in show, or John leading up to the Battle of the Bastards. Leaving out Val, leaving out Alice Karstark, leaving out all of these things, we still end up at a pretty... and leaving out all of the Prince of Winterfell, the Ghost of Winterfell, excuse me, stuff with Theon and with Mance Rayder acting as Bale the Bard.
And his washerwomen.
And the washerwomen. So all of that is left out. But I think it's still
and actually,
good.
the Alice Karstark...
It's definitely it's definitely abbreviated a bit, but I think it still ends up being pretty good overall. And there is a consolidation of leaving Stannis out because he's already dead, and there's a consolidation of Jon doing the Battle of Ice while Dany does her Battle of Fire, which is kind of where the books end up. Is Dany getting ready to protect Meereen from the Masters, and Stannis basically marching on Winterfell.
With the Alice Karstark one, that could have been one where she could have arrived, and it could have shown the difference between now why this Lord Karstark Jr. is with Ramsay. You know, he's the evil Karstark, heir that they're trying to marry Alice Karstark off to, and she shows up. That could have been an interesting one-off episode, one-off storyline, thing. I kind of would have liked, thinking about it now, I would have liked to see that. I know that, again, game of consolidation and where they end up, it does work and everything's cool, but that one little storyline is something they could have thrown in. Maybe consolidated Val having the hot blonde as Alice Karstark in there.
Yeah, and well, I mean, she ends up marrying Magnar of Thenn. I mean, so they form House Thenn, which he gone. But
yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, taking 30 seconds, and you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, so like the other thing about Alice Karstark is Cregan Karstark shows up. I don't know how well you remember this part, Glennie, but there's like a whole thing where Alice Karstark shows up asking for Jon's help because she was going to be forced to marry her cousin or uncle, someone that she was related to, so that he could be kind of the head of House Karstark. And that person ends up showing up, and Jon's already married her off to the Magnar of Thenn. And it basically turns out that like Cregan Karstark is thrown in the ice cells, and there is some symbolism there that tends to go to the Jon resurrection stuff, because that hasn't happened in the books, but a lot of this Alice Karstark, Cregan Karstark stuff has, and I don't know. It's just interesting stuff. I don't know.
Right. It was interesting stuff.
It's pretty specific stuff that isn't touched on in the show at all.
But it's interesting.
It is. Because the ice cells preserve.
Right, and it's interesting.
Do you have anything else to add?
No, I wasn't really paying attention anyway, so.
I was just talking out loud. Listen to LML. He's smart.
That's true, and you can listen to him next week.
If he was on our epilogue this week, we could have talked to him about it.
No, true. So, all right. So, short epilogue episode this week because we're getting a little loopy, and there's not much a lot that we can.
There's not much a lot.
Not much, a lot. A lot of, not much.
I'm just giving you shit because that's what we have to do.
I know. And neither one of us, any one of us, are actually smart at this shit. So we're not theory crafters. So for that, we cheers you.
Don't label me.
Night. And as always,
don't turn your back on the Wolfpack as always.
As always, winter is coming, and so am I.
And stay imaginary, as always.
do you know this?
That's what I do.
I drink.
I drink
And I know
and I know things.
So there are a lot of voices that Glenn does really well. I feel like there's several that you pair up with well.
Which one?
I'm wrong. Never mind. No, you're very bad at all of them. Just stop trying.
Oh, yeah, I think I'm the best at yours. That's
All
the
right,
best one, I
guys.
think.
Nice job.
So
On your
in
color.
the chat, we're on the YouTube stream. We will give a shout out to Phil H, Mackenzie L. Burns, Brand the Bearded Builder, our newest mod tonight. Clarissa Thompson, thank you. I know LMR was in here earlier. See how
Phil
far I can go
H.
up.
Was there. Mike Mikeson joined us for a little while.
Felicia, our Red Sox fans, was in. There were a couple others, but that's where my chat stops. Mary B, thank you,
He
Mary.
was there.
So, but we thank you guys. It's awesome, and we know this is a long show. It's amazing that you guys hang around with us, and it just makes it way more fun for us to keep this going. So, if you need anything, you got any input, just hit me up on Hangouts, hit Luke up on YouTube, hit Glenn up on Hotmail.
Wherever the fuck that I'm at.
Hotmail. What?
Hotmail.sexyboy.
That's
I'm
Glenn.
just a
Is
sexy
that
boy.
me?
Yeah. HBK. Glenn HBK at hotmail.sexyboy.com.
But isn't this how you do know it's a split? Sorry. I never asked this, but isn't
Mackenzie, what are
how
you talking about? You're like 2.5 wine bottles deep. What are you talking about?
they're mixing books and shows? Well, technically, how could it? So when we tell Abby, if she watches back the YouTube stuff, she knows to get the fuck out of
Get out
when
of
we tell her to get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out. Now.
Yeah.
Get out now.
Get to the chopper. All right. Thank you guys. We love you. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
You're all attractive, and we're not attractive.
You're smarter than I am. Actually, that's proven tonight. Shit.
You were wrong. Or I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're good looking. I'm not attractive. Okay. Cut your shit, Happy.